Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni podcast.
Wait, they can't hear me right now. They can hear it. Now they can hear it. I was so close to getting it perfect. They couldn't hear you. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to another amazing and exciting episode of the Black Money Podcast. I'm joined today by three amazing guests, two of which you might have seen before, and one who's entirely new to the show. So we're going to take a moment to introduce them with the person who is directly on my right, Mr. Pikachulita.
Oh, hey, that's me. Cool. I don't know what your screen looks like, so I wasn't sure where I was. What's going on?
Hey. And could you tell the people at home a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what you like, and where people can go to get more of your delicious face?
It's a weird way to put that.
Delicious face.
I've been on this podcast since the first one, off and on, less so lately. Game a bunch, write occasionally, teach English classes, and yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KKasaurus, and that's probably about it right now. So.
Nice. The next person we have who is responsible for putting this agenda together in conjunction with myself. Just a few things I gave him a little bit of direction on. Mr. Dream Manifested.
What's goody, everybody?
Where can people go to get more of your delicious face?
Well, in all facets, this Dream manifested everything. So that's IG, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the whole gamut.
And what do you do? What do you like to do? What is it? What do you even do?
Man, I like stuff. I'm
gonna name this podcast. I like stuff.
All right, so on the Twitch currently is more suited to just me gaming and hanging out with the people. I've kind of changed directions on YouTube. I want that to be more of tech reviews and things that I could practice, like film direction and things like that. So that's what we got going on there. And then Instagram is just, the day in the life.
Like it. And last but not least,
Certainly.
our special lady in the hot seat, Miss Pikachulita.
Hi.
Where can people go to get more of you? And what is it that you do with your also delicious face?
Such a weird way to put it. Every time.
Well, Pikachulita, that's pretty much my handle across Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. I use Twitch and Twitter the most. I like to sleep in my spare time because I'm very tired. I do like to sleep, but I like to sleep, eat. I do like to read. I like to read horror stories, and I like to game. I stream pretty much when I'm not at work or when I'm not sleeping, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right on.
Nice.
So why don't you tell us about yourself?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I did that already.
I was like, we can talk about Pikachulita again. I'm fine with that.
No.
Oh, we gonna talk about it quite a bit.
Oh, yes, we are. We're going to get deep down into everything that makes Pikachulita who she is, aside from sleeping.
The knit and
that.
grit.
I am Will Black Oni Wiggins. I do all types of stuff. I draw, I paint, I do graphic design, I game, I play a lot of fantasy-based games. I'm trying to get back into the swing of fighting games as well. I haven't been playing too many of them lately, but I play a lot of action RPGs as well, and we do stuff like this. We do these podcasts, co-host on Chocolate Thunder podcast, and run the Black Oni podcast, and we're so excited to continue bringing you guys more of these shows. They keep getting better and better, and I have my guests to thank for that, and co-hosts to thank for that. as well as the people who are watching live on Twitch right now. So we do the podcast live on Twitch. We also put it up on YouTube and iTunes, and through iTunes, it gets put on many other podcasting apps. So there are people who reach out just randomly on social media sometimes, like, hey, when's the next podcast coming? I've been listening on iTunes. Or I've been listening on this random podcasting app that's not even affiliated with iTunes. I'm like, oh shit, it's like, you listen to the podcast? So it's really, I'm really happy and fortunate that we are at a point where that's a thing.
Nice.
Now we'll go right into the rest of the podcast now that we've kind of gotten all of that out of the way. Pikachulita, what sparked your desire to start streaming?
Well, obviously, I've been gaming my whole life. I think as long as I could actually like physically like hold any sort of game console. I'm pretty sure like my first like thing that I played was maybe like a Game Boy or something. But I mean, I've just been doing it for such a long time, and obviously with the release of the PS4, I kind of more so found out about streaming and that people put their gameplay on the internet. And I thought, okay, well, maybe people would like to see me play this stuff. I'm not I'm not a pro gamer, MLG level or anything like that. But I was like, hey, well, maybe people would like to see me. And at the time when I first started streaming, I obviously didn't have like a camera or any like. Wait, why are you laughing?
No, I'm sorry. I was just reading the comment. Nah, continue. Don't mind me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we got the comments rolling, so people just.
No, I need to pull up these comments.
No, somebody called me thirsty. I didn't even do nothing.
Yeah,
you don't just.
Yeah, you need to pull these comments up.
I'm pulling these comments up. I want to see. I don't know why I didn't think to do that, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, it just back then, like I said, I didn't have like a camera or anything going, and one of my first streams was actually Silent Hills PT. I gotta pour one out.
Oh god.
And actually surprised that was with that being one of my first streams that I had like for that to be like a new thing, I had like 20-30 some viewers or whatever. Wow. So I mean it was pretty lit. The thing is, like, they didn't even see me scared. They just like heard me scared, and it just kind of went from there. Obviously, when I was like in college, because I just graduated last December, I didn't have time to really do stuff consistently. So I would like stream for like a few days, disappear for like maybe do it the next week, and then disappear for like a month or two at a time, come back. And now that I'm done with school, I have become more consistent about it, and I just love it. I like talking to people, meeting new people, connecting over video games, and just entertaining people by doing something that I love and actually enjoy. Because I sit there and stream and forget how long I'm streaming, and I'll go for 7 hours, and it doesn't feel like anything. Now, after I'm done, I can feel it in my back, but while I'm streaming, I just kind of zone out. I'm just gaming for 7 hours. So
nice.
When did you first start podcasting? Because you are part of another podcast. And I was telling the other co-host here about how me and Pikachulita kind of became acquainted with each other aside from the cookout. We know a lot of the same people, and you're a part of another podcast right now. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how that all started and how that became a thing and what your experience has been like.
Well, I first got into podcasting. I had always been interested. I kind of tossed around the idea of doing like some kind of nerdy podcast, anime. I didn't know if I wanted to do like anime or manga or video games. Like I never really knew. But I never did it because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know the resources. I didn't know what to do. And then actually my lovely, lovely podcast co-host of the podcast that I'm currently on right now is called Coins to Continue. Charles, he was the one that got it all together. And Oni actually knows Charles because evidently Charles was on a podcast that you were on, I think, some time ago.
It was the Coalition's podcast. it was the Throwdown. And that was with Tony Polanco, and that was with Manny.
Tony.
Yeah, man, Tony. There was a whole bunch of people on that cast. They usually have like 5 or 6 sometimes on the show. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So he, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had been, following each other on social media for a really long time, and he put out a call, kind of on a post, saying that he was looking for women of color who might be interested in doing like a podcast. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I left the eye emojis under in a comment, because I just was like, oh, what is this? And he ended up hitting me up and kind of, telling me more about it. And at the time, the lovely Simply Andrea was our other co-host. I love her to death. She's amazing. Can't wait to meet her. But she was the other co-host at the time. So he kind of just hit us up and kind of told us what he, kind of had in mind, what his vision was. And then he introduced us, and we kind of just went from there. And he handles most of the planning and the technical stuff, because I'm not too tech savvy when it comes to stuff like that.
Yet.
But yet. That's the keyword, yet. I'm going to get there eventually. But obviously, as time progressed, Andrea, she is so amazing and so popular, and she just has so much going on with her life. By the way, she's currently doing voice acting, which is amazing. She just didn't have time to keep up with the cast, which is completely understandable. So now she became more of like on a guest basis. And then we brought in my other co-host, Felicia, which I already was familiar with her because she actually was friends with my best friend up there in Connecticut, my friend Jennifer. And so we already kind of knew each other and, like followed each other and stuff like that. So there was already kind of a natural connection. It wasn't like complete, strangers. I didn't know Andrea before. But even then we kind of hit it off, and we kind of just went from there. And we're currently, if I'm not mistaken, in season 3 of our podcast, and it's going really well. We've just started doing kind of live casts where we get on Google Hangouts, and we I think broadcast on YouTube Live, because before we were just recording. We were doing pre-recorded episodes through Audacity and things like that. But we're gonna end up migrating over to podcasting on Twitch and just trying to look for new avenues. And I love the podcast. I love being on there. I love my co-hosts, and it's just an awesome gaming podcast where we talk about we have like kind of superficial topics like what are we playing right now, or some game. We talk about like what's in gaming news, but then we also bring in some kind of intersectionality when it comes to like gender, race. We talk about different controversies, not like messy controversies, like something like, oh, somebody said something about this, or somebody's sleeping with somebody's girlfriend, nothing like that. But like controversies like a certain popular pro gamer using racial slurs that he has no business saying. We talk about things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and actually on our most recent episode, I actually kind of spent a good amount of the episode talking, because they wanted to kind of hear my experiences as a woman of color in the streaming industry. So, yep.
Right
Nice.
on.
I just want to say real quick, I love that me and Oni have like matching hair. As of now.
I was on that bandwagon, but fuck corporate America.
His voice changed.
I know, right? It cracked a little bit. Like.
I had to get a haircut for an interview, and then I ended up getting a bad haircut at that.
Oh,
So
trash. Oh, I'm so
it's all
sorry.
good though. The
I mean,
journey
mine aren't real, but Oni's is real, but
well, mine gonna be real long.
get them back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome that we have a lot of things that we share in common, a lot. So that was another reason why I wanted to bring you on the show, is because like you've played with Dream Manifested before. I'm not sure if you might have actually played with KKosaurus as well. He's the 1KK on PlayStation.
Oh, were we playing Overwatch?
Yeah.
Yep.
We did. See, look at that.
Yeah. So that's another reason why I was like, you already might not have realized that you already blend well with the people that I fucks with. So
Right.
Yeah.
That was the night that I think I sent Reinhardt flying into the air as Junkrat. That
if you can find that
iconic
clip, I'm going to
clip.
show it. I don't remember. You were streaming it. You clipped it, didn't you?
I did.
Oh my god!
I
All
did.
right.
Yes. I did.
I'm gonna look for that clip right now while we're continuing the discussion.
Yeah, it should be in my clips.
It
It's
was
totally in there.
amazing.
Amazing. That's one of my favorite clips of all time.
Yes, yes, and you couldn't even talk. You're just like.
I was just cracking up because you guys were trying to figure out because we were playing at the time. I know because we kind of like rotated like who was playing with us at night because people were leaving and joining. And I know at the time it was like me, you, Andrea. I think Dream was with us. Was Dream with us? No. Dream, no.
PlayStation.
No, because I got
Oh
Overwatch
no,
on
yeah, because he
Xbox.
played Killer. Dream was with us. That's right. I don't know if Kevin was with us at the
wasn't
time. I
there.
know he's with us that night, but
Yeah.
we were like with a few people, and it was just fucking. I was over there crying, honestly, because it just. I don't even know how I did it, and it felt like a Junkrat main, and the rest is history.
Nice.
Um,
Damn, Junkrat. Junkrat pisses me off.
I love Junkrat.
Doesn't he? I was a little hype. I'm not gonna lie, because the other day I played with him because usually I play healer tank, and
Okay.
we were obviously defending on El Dorado, I think, and God, I'm such a fucking nerd. The fact that I can just pelt out like Overwatch like stuff is just crazy. Anyway, who would have thought I'd be here 10 years ago?
It's so
But
funny.
we needed a defensive character, and I'm like, okay, I play with Junkrat sometimes when I'm not that good. And I surprisingly got like, I was on fire like majority of the match, and I got like 20, 30 some kills and like a whole bunch of objective kills, and I got play of the game because I got like a triple riptire kill, and I was like, this is never gonna happen. I had somebody come in my mentions, was like, because I posted the clip in my play of the game, and you're like, teach me. I was like, I can't teach you because that was a fluke. I got lucky. There's no
She's
skill in
heating up.
that.
Looking for the damn clip. All right,
Are you looking for it in my clips?
Yeah.
Oh, Will's kind of blind, so it's probably what? Don't look at me like that.
The face, that was one of the most evil. I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking right now.
God,
I tend to have that effect.
Oh God.
How dare you?
I walked right into
You
that
walked right
one.
into that one. I'll find it. Don't worry, folks. I will find it. It's super.
If
worth
not,
it.
search it on Twitter because
Yeah.
I definitely post it on Twitter for sure.
What is your favorite game
Yeah, in genre.
Of all time?
of all time? Your favorite game? We're gonna talk about
Fuck,
genre.
I
too, but
hate
favorite.
this question. God.
I know.
It's like when people ask me what my favorite anime is, and I'm like,
Oh,
fucking
I'm gonna get
cuss
there. I was
people
gonna get
out.
there.
Oh yeah, get there, get there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, God,
She had to take
okay.
her glasses off first. She wanted to be blurry for
Yeah.
this.
So you want to focus on the mental, not on the visual.
I hate y'all. I don't know why. I don't know why I came here. I don't know why I came here. I don't. No, I can actually see like my setup fine. It's like far away shit. It's like
Okay.
yeah. My eyes do have to kind of adjust, so they were just like bothering my face. But let's see, favorite game of all time. Oh my god. I wish y'all could have at least given me like 5. Like why does it have to be 1? Narrowing stuff down to 1 is always the worst.
So I'll help you. I'll help you by saying there are things that you can factor into this decision.
Okay.
You can talk about your most nostalgic experience, or you can mix that with the experience that changed your perspective on gaming, or the game that you've played the most and like have never gotten tired of playing it, or the game that you feel most represents art.
That's
Some
That's
deep
intense,
ass
man.
questions there. My mind is like
I know I said I was gonna help, but I was not.
you actually made it 10 times worse. I was
Yeah.
just better off with just what's your favorite game, and you just sent into a whole new depth.
I sure did.
I'm actually trying to think back to it, like a post I made on Instagram. It was like what's your like top 10 favorite games, and I'm trying to like pick from that list. That'll kind of narrow it down for me. Fuck. Oh my god. Oh man.
And if you need some more time, we can actually switch to what's your favorite genre.
Okay, genre is a lot easier.
Okay, all right, let's go with that.
I would have to say action adventure is definitely my favorite genre. I love a good single player game, and as much as I love like a solid multiplayer that's not like Call of Duty or anything, I'm throwing shade because I don't play Call of Duty.
Why? What's wrong with Call of Duty? Why you gotta be hating on Call of Duty?
I mean, I'm kind of over Call of Duty, but I feel
I'm over it. I'm just over it. I've never been super into military shooters in general, minus like Tom Clancy games because Tom Clancy.
You play Siege?
No, I did. Listen, I did the listen. Don't smack your lips at me. Because if you want to smack lips, we can. I ain't gonna be ratchet. But no, I played the alpha and the beta for Siege. I just didn't think it was worth $60, so I didn't buy it. And then I did like the free weekend. It was fun, but I just didn't. To be fair, initially I didn't think Overwatch was worth $60, so I actually got it for $30 during, I think it was Cyber Monday. But now I would have totally paid $60. I fucking love Overwatch. So yeah, if it wasn't that expensive, I wouldn't have. I would have got it. But let's see. Yeah, so definitely favorite genre would have to be action adventure or any kind of variation of it. Doesn't have to be strictly action adventure. It can kind of have some other elements to it as well.
So what about your favorite game within that genre?
With action adventure?
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Interesting.
That was already what I was tossing around favorite game of all time, but
really,
yeah.
And this is the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's the next one coming out?
Shadow of War is gonna be game of the year. Point. I'm not arguing that.
You think so?
Yes, absolutely.
She ain't ready for it.
That ain't up for debate. That's not up for debate. Absolutely not. Okay. No. When I tell you that's all I'm gonna be streaming, like I'm not gonna stream probably Overwatch for a good minute. Like I just need Monolith to go ahead and like shoot me that partnership or something. I just we need this because I'm probably the biggest just Shadow of Mordor / Lord of the Rings fan that anybody know. Like literally, I don't know if you guys can. You probably can't see. It's like literally, that is a map of Middle Earth right over there. I have a whole bunch of like posters on my wall of like Lord of the Rings. So it's like, of course, I get like a good ass Lord of the Rings game. I'm totally gonna jump in on it, and Shadow of War is just gonna be fucking immaculate. So yeah, I would have to say out of that genre to be Shadow of War. Absolutely. I logged in probably close to 100 hours on that game, but that includes times where I fell asleep playing it and the game was still on. So knock out a few hours. So because I think I did that like a few times. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and choose my favorite game of all time.
We're ready for this.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, she about to confess like some about to confess
Dream
some
Daddy.
real messed up. Dream. Hey man, listen.
No.
Let's you know what? BioShock.
BioShock.
That's a good any particular title or like the whole universe of BioShock?
I mean just in general, yeah, the whole series. I mean, I know Infinite's up for debate, but I don't give a fuck when anybody says I love Infinite.
Infinite's great.
Infinite was dope.
Infinite
that
was
damn
awesome.
twist at the end was like, hey.
Right. Well, and I mean, we pointed this out, I think, before we started streaming, but I've literally got, I mean, it's again more of the posters. I have like it's not a lithograph. Yeah, I have the Rapture poster. I have a Columbia poster. I've got one of my homeboys, shout out to Ducky, got me it's not a lithograph, but the moving pictures where if you tilt it, it looks holographic. Yeah, it's Booker and Elizabeth. And the big airship is in the back and it like turns and moves and you can see the songbird and it's amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite like wall decor that I have. But yeah, the whole series in general, but I'd have to say out of all the games, the first one is probably my favorite. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ken Levine. I don't know if he's watching right now. I say that because not to brag or anything. He has watched, he's been on our podcast and he has watched content without me ever knowing it before. And I was blown away when he did. So shout out to you, Ken. More than happy to have you back on the show again. Had an amazing time.
I love you.
I love you. And Kev was actually on the show with us while we did that.
Yeah, he's
as
a cool
well.
dude.
Yeah, he's super
Salt. Oh my god. See, I wouldn't have even been able to do that because I just would have been fangirling the whole time. I would have been squealing. I would have known what to say, and I would have been like hyperventilating, like creep, like. Like, you remember that kid from Hey Arnold that would just stand near Angelica?
I was just about to say that.
That totally would have been me. Like, oh my god. So
you
I'm
got
actually glad
you
I
got
wasn't a
to
part of that.
Keep you cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Act
trying,
like,
man.
Act like you've been there before. Act like you've been there before. That's what
When
it
I found out that Oni like had him on there, like when I tell you my like salt levels were like my cholesterol was just like so high. I was like my blood pressure was just through the roof. Like I'm please be watching this and please know that you are awesome and I love what you do. You may have to like slide in his DMs and send it to be like, hey, there's a special shout out to you on there, but it's kind of like creepy and like stalkerish.
I mean, somebody please clip that and I'll just send that shit to him. Like, I'll do
Slide
that.
in the DMs.
Slide up in there.
He just, I appreciate his work, okay? Like,
I don't know the
he's
fucking
just-
commands. Fuck this
he's
shit.
just-
I'm so tired.
What
I hate
happened?
Twitch
What
ain't
happened?
Yeah, I can't with you.
What was the command? What was the command? Was it the moisten?
It wasn't
No.
even that one because I have the soundboard off while we do the podcast. This dude. So every time I stream and he shows up in my stream,
Mm-hmm.
he comes up with some other new command that's not a thing. Like he just like will come up in his stream, exclamation point, boobs, not a thing. Exclamation point, funny, not a thing. Exclamation point, clip. Just did it right now. Super not a thing. Never been a thing. And the worst part is he's a mod. He technically could make it a thing.
It takes away from the hilarity, all right?
I'm just like, yo, these are things.
I'm a little salty that like my laptop died like as we were doing this. So because I had the chat pulled up and then it died, so I'm not seeing any of this.
Oh man. So
That's what they make chords for.
in case anyone else out there is wondering how to clip things, you can just leave your finger on Alt and press X to clip.
That's what I was trying to do.
And then exclamation point clip came out. Dead.
Mhm.
Y'all are gonna probably clip me making the ugliest fucking faces, like, and it's fine.
The best. The best.
I've been trying.
I know.
That focus, that eye focus and face. Hey, Christian, what's good, homie?
Yeah. So why are you? What a question. So it's a great first best game.
You okay there? That was,
Nah,
that was a
fine.
lot of coughing.
Don't worry about me. I'll make it through. I have confidence. Dream, you had a question that you want to ask her about anime.
Oh well, she mentioned throwing the question out about in this next you're gonna ask me about your favorite anime. You're damn right. What's your favorite anime? Or you know what? I'll be nice to you. What's your top 5? As you eye roll me over there.
Okay, that's a little bit more fair. So I appreciate that. Unlike some people, only just hit me with the 1, not the 5. All right,
I mean,
so
just gotta lay it down.
Lay it down. Ooh, lay it down.
Dream understands.
definitely Trigon. I actually have a Trigon skin on my controller.
Okay, I fucks with
That
that.
is, yeah.
'Cause
shout out
this
to-
is just so you know. This is how I'm judging you.
all right.
I'm judging your character by this.
All right. Fair enough. Shout out to Toasty Stickers. Toasty Stickers makes great controller skins. I have had that skin for 3 years, and it's just now kind of fucking up, which I'm sad. But anyway,
I actually did see that.
super cheap too. But let's see, Trigon, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh Oh man, because I like you have to understand. I've seen so much anime. Like,
I feel you.
I think
Yes.
I've definitely seen more anime than what I've played in games. Like, I'm probably more well versed in anime than games. Not the newer shit, because I'm sorry, newer anime is not that great.
Fighting
I'm not gonna
words.
I'm not gonna get into that discussion, because we could talk about how shonen is so fucking oversaturated nowadays.
I ain't even talking about shonen though. I'm not even talking.
I'm just saying. Listen, there is a slice of life coming out that is about a centaur.
That's already out. That's my
centaur.
Crunchyroll.
Right.
I watched
and
the first
shit is
episode.
trash.
I was like,
It's
it is trash.
It's trash.
But that ain't what I'm talking about.
Can
Stupid.
you pull up your mug
That
again?
That ain't what I'm talking about though.
Wait, what? Can I do what?
Sorry, someone in the stream wants to see Kev's mug.
Oh yeah, it's a Jawa.
It's so cute.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I want one.
I moved my damn start bar.
Newer
And no.
animes and all that. I mean, you got some people fighting you in the chat dreams, man.
No. So hold on. Like I said, once I get my start bar back and everything, continue with your stuff so I can cuss these
All
people
right.
out.
Anyway. Yeah, we'll save that discussion for another time. Let's see. I think.
It's about to get really real. Why can't I move my fucking text?
God, I literally, like, I've seen so many, and the thing is, like I'm really trying to, like, dig back into, like,
The
you know, because the fucking archives. Okay, has anybody ever heard of? And it's not a magazine that. Did you say Naruto?
I said Hamtaro.
Oh,
Hamtaro.
I loved Hamtaro.
But you talking about the trash?
Hold on, wait just a damn minute. I was like 8 years fucking old when I was watching Hamtaro, right? I'm 23 years old right now. I was young as fuck. Leave me alone. Hamtaro is cute as fuck, and I love animals, so shut up. Anyway. No, has anybody but the magazine doesn't run anymore in the US. It only runs in Japan. New Type USA.
Never heard of it.
Nobody's ever heard of that? Okay, somebody in the chat might. Okay, these were huge anime magazines that came with a DVD. It had like usually 1 to 2 episodes of a specific anime. Came with trailers for other ones. It had a manga excerpt. It came with a poster or a centerfold, and it talked about cosplay. It had people submitting art. Talked about figurines. Like it had everything. What's hot in Japan. It showed like show listings for anime series coming on and. Cable broadcast or cable providers in the US. Like, it was amazing. And mind you, this was like back in like 2003 and 4. And these magazines were $12. Considered back then, that was an expensive ass magazine. But anyway, I'm trying to pull from like shit like that, because I actually still have those New Type magazines. All right, so Try Again. I said Try Again, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Trying to look around my room and see what I have.
I never watched Brotherhood. I watched all of Full Metal Alchemist regular. I watched
Pause.
Yep.
Pause. Time out. I did this too.
Looks like you need to spend 30 hours before we can talk again. Go enjoy.
Right.
We'll resume.
Podcast. Cut the podcast. Yes, the thing is, like, the original Full Metal is good, but Brotherhood's way better.
Yeah.
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Full Metal's very much like Alphonse and why can't I think of his Edward's story? Brotherhood is like the epic, like everybody's story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think it ties in more closely to the the manga.
It does, yeah.
Brotherhood does, yeah.
Because they finished the original one before the manga finished, so they had to make up an ending.
Right.
Like the whole last half of it does not happen in Brotherhood.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. So yes, you need to get on that. That is your homework assignment that I'm giving you. I like romance personally. I can't stand real life romance. Hold on, wait. Did I just hear somebody smack their lips? Was that you, Dream?
Why look? You got it for your boy. So look.
Anyway,
I don't have a problem with romance. I just.
Well, most men. Okay, let's face it. Most men don't like romance. I mean, let's just be. I don't like real life romance. I can't stand Lifetime movies and chick flicks and shit. But I love romance, anime, and manga. But that's just me. I also
hate about romance and anime though is never works out the way I personally think it should work out.
Well, obviously, nothing in anime is realistic. I mean,
fuck that.
So you mean to tell me it's natural for chicks to just be walking around with triple H cup tits? And
I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about
I
aching
brush
club.
my hair back and my like boobs pop out. And,
But
no,
like,
it doesn't
Gurren
happen like that.
Lagann,
I mean,
Just got a
Gurren
sometimes-
Lagann really pissed me off though.
Sometimes
Wait,
you
you
got
said-
some.
Wait, what did you say, Dream?
I said that Gurren Lagann really pissed me off.
Okay, I haven't seen Gurren Lagann yet.
Why
I'm gonna
did it
tell.
really
I'm gonna
piss
tell
off?
you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, well, go ahead. Tell them why it pissed you off first, and I'll tell you why I haven't seen it.
Because, well, it's a spoiler. It's a heavy spoiler. But
Okay,
you
well
should
then
tell
don't
us.
say it. I don't want him to say it. I don't want him to say it because I haven't seen it yet.
I
'Cause
haven't seen it yet either.
I'm, yeah, I wanna watch it. But the reason I'm not gonna lie, Twitter hypes up so much anime and it's all shonen. So I'm not gonna lie, I make myself intentionally late to the hype train. I will not check shit out because Twitter, I feel like overhypes stuff so much. Like, oh yeah, this shit is amazing and blah 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 and all this and like so I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to get on the One Punch Man wave, but damn if I love me some One Punch. All right, okay.
My Hero Academia.
My Hero Academia is so good.
No, because I'm so tired of seeing that frog bitch. I'm sorry.
So that's
a
what
minor
describes
character.
the whole anime? Is the froggy?
Yes,
Hopper?
yes, because again, this is what everybody everybody is hyping up. Okay, again, I'm more partial to older anime. Granted, that's just I like 80s to early 2000s. Those are my more favorite series. Okay, so but people have been telling me, but again, I'm making myself intentionally to the hype train. So I'm gonna eventually wait. How long is Boku no Hero Academia?
It's on the second season.
Yeah.
Or is this the second or third?
How many episodes? How many episodes?
This
30
is-
something, I think. 32.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay, because I'm like, it was like, yeah, you know watch Naruto and Bleach, and I'm like, that shit has
that's
like
like-
500 episodes. Absolutely the fuck not.
Literally,
No.
not even.
No,
an
you gotta do
It's
exaggeration.
like a
it.
year
You
of your
got to
life
do
that you
it.
give up.
No, because
What?
listen, I'm totally not trying to get off topic, but I literally, I used to get Shonen Jump, okay, like way back in the day, back when Naruto first came out on Shonen Jump. That was back when they still had Dragon Ball Z, Hikaru no Go, Yu-Gi-Oh, and stuff still in Shonen Jump.
Mhm.
Couldn't get into it. Tried watching it when they started showing it on Cartoon Network for the first time. Watching it, couldn't get into it. Tried it again, couldn't get into it. Figured out Naruto's childish ass little maggot, and I don't like childish Naruto. But now, towards the end, with Shippuden or whatever, it gets more serious. But the problem is, there's a whole bunch more episodes before that. And I'm not about to watch that shit because in the time that it's going to take me to watch a 300 to 600 episode anime, I could watch like
17 other anime?
a shit ton of ones that range from 12 to 32 episodes. So that's why I haven't watched any of those yet in depth.
And see, I understand that I do, but see, because of my timing in watching anime, I didn't have to do that. And the way that I watch anime, when I find a new one, I marathon it, and I get to the point where everything is waiting for the next episode. Like right now, every day I have something that's coming out, and it was the same when I was reading manga all the time. So I feel you. I also feel the 80s in the older anime. Robotech and Macross are what got me into anime, period.
Mm.
Oh yeah, like and even like I mean, original Sailor Moon, Magical Knight Ryer, Utena. I mean, Utena was that's more 90s I think than 80s. But I mean, I like the art way better. I so much like the art, and I feel like I just think it's better. But let me go ahead and finish giving you this list.
I think we're still on number 2. Are we still on number 2? Did you make it to 3 yet?
No, not yet. But I was going to it when I talked about the romance.
If you got your 3 as rapid fire, go with them because we want to get to these other questions too.
Kami-sama Hajime Mashita, which is Kami-sama Kiss. That's a newer kind of romance anime, but it's like sci-fi. It's about like demons and stuff like that. It's pretty good. I love it. I'm trying to think.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, this is really good.
I actually like that anime a lot.
I want to cosplay Erd one day.
Please
I would
do.
love to do that.
Please do. I will support that 157%. Not 160.
I always love finding like darker skinned anime characters that I want to cosplay.
She's amazing.
I love her. She's so beautiful. Wouldn't consider that a top 5 though, but it is good.
if you don't have the rest of them,
Okay, let's finish with the rest of the questions, and then because I only have 2 more left, we'll go back to that because I don't want to keep everybody here for like 3 hours because that's about how long it'll take if I sit here. So let's go ahead.
We can always continue the discussion later with some more gaming because I'm gonna be streaming later after the cast as well. So
playing what?
Well, we haven't figured that out yet. Maybe Overwatch, maybe 7 Days of Day.
Because I know it's not going to be Lawbreakers, you little bitch.
I don't have Lawbreakers. We're gonna talk about that.
I was about to say we should talk about Lawbreakers.
Oh, it's in there. It's in there.
What are your goals for streaming and beyond?
Well, I just want to say that I'm honestly, truly not in streaming for the money. Henceforth, why I have a whole another full-time job. Don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome that people can make revenue from streaming. Currently I'm a Twitch affiliate, so I do have a sub button, but that's not what I'm in it for. I'm not looking to get fame. Honestly, the thought of fame gives me anxiety because I don't like people being in my business and looking at every aspect of my life. But like I said, I enjoy entertaining people. I've really, really connected and met some really awesome people through gaming and through streaming. And again, just being able to entertain people while doing something that you truly love and enjoy, I think is so rewarding. And especially because, let's be real here, the forefront of streaming is white dominated and it's male dominated. And I want to kind of put myself out there and even uplift other women who do it, especially other women of color, as to say we exist, we're doing this. There are gamers here, and it's not even just gaming. It's, I think, like nerd culture in general. It's you don't really think of that's like it's crazy because when people look at me and I tell them like I'm into gaming, so it's like, what? You don't look like I know I don't look like it because let's be real. Somebody would probably look at me and think I'm an Instagram honey or something. I'm just being honest. That's probably what people think when they look at me, and they also don't expect me to have graduated with honors from college either. But and I want to kind of break that stereotype and kind of break the mold and say like, hey, I am a woman of color and with natural hair, because people act like they've never seen natural hair before for some reason when I'm on stream. But I want to basically show people that we do this. We are in gaming. We do like Lord of the Rings. We do like Star Wars. We do like anime. We do like manga. And just to kind of, I guess, change the dynamic of what people think that gaming and streaming is. And I mean, it'd be awesome if I were to, get somewhere with it and get further and become partnered or do whatever. I would like to get to the point to where I can do some pretty good charity streams and be able to really give back and do something good with it, because like one of my favorite YouTubers is Markiplier, and I think it's amazing what he does with his streams and how much money he's raised. And obviously me, being a working class woman, I don't typically have those means to do it myself. So if I could get onto a platform to where I'm doing something that I love while also being able to give back would just be so fulfilling. And I want to make a difference in some kind of way, whether it's kind of a more non-physical way or in a physical way.
Nice. I agree with that a whole lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it too. A lot of people on stream may have missed this part when we were talking about it originally, but one of the ways that Pikachulita and I got acquainted was through a cookout and through the video that we did to kind of help with representation with Black people in gaming media. And it's just, I'm happy that she's a positive reinforcement to the idea that there are many different types of people on Twitch, many different types of people who enjoy games, and many different types of people who want to be a part of this culture. So that's again another reason why I appreciate it, another reason why we have him on the show. And yeah, yo, Dream Man, you really gonna call her out like that though? She's just trying to chill.
What's he over there doing?
One of our wonderful mods came up and she was trying to lurk And this dude, Dream Man Festa, had to go like, "Hey, what's up?" Just call her out.
Damn.
Oh boy.
Savage.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's all good. Should be all right.
you're now how many followers are you at now? 1,500 followers on Twitch.
Mhm.
Pikachu. Now, when did you? First of all, this is a question that a lot of people always ask me. So I think it's important to ask other people as well, because everybody has different experiences and different types of advice to give people.
Mhm.
What is your formula, if there is a formula, and how do you think you've been able to achieve 1,500 plus followers on Twitch?
There's definitely not a formula. I kind of just, I mean, I know there's certain like dynamics and basics to streaming. Obviously, I think one thing that people really like about me is I'm very, very, very engaged with my viewers. I will respond to basically every comment, minus some, obviously, but
Yeah.
I will respond to every comment, every person. We've had some, I've had people in my chat come and tell me about their problems. I've had people, we've talked about anime, we've talked about gaming, we've talked about movies. There's, just the topics range. And I think people feel comfortable. I think people like that sort of streamer viewer engagement, especially because, a lot of people just kind of stream and don't really talk. And they think that that's all there is to it. And obviously, like, once you get to a certain point, like in your streaming and you're like, if you're like on the level of like Maximilian Dude or something, where your comments are just literally just sheet, just page after page of comments, and just like it's moving them a mile a minute. I mean, then obviously it's kind of unrealistic to expect to be able to respond to all the comments. But, and that's, I just want to be able to do it now, at least while I can, if I do ever get to that point.
Because you will. You will. Speed into existence. We got you.
But and it gets a little difficult sometimes. I mean, there are times where I'm like, hold on, guys, I'll check the chat in a second, because I'm like, we're like pushing the payload, and I'm like, I really gotta fucking focus. I'm a mercy man. I'm trying to make sure everybody's healed. Or if I'm playing, some kind of horror game like Outlast, and I just want to say that one of the last times I played Outlast, I'm currently working on Outlast 2. I beat Outlast 1. I haven't done the DLC yet, but I was so tense that I caught a Charlie's horse in my leg.
No.
I
And
believe it, because that game might have shaved some years off my life.
And y'all can have it. I'm gonna keep my years.
So like there's times where I'm a little like late to checking the chat or whatever, or like when I'm playing like Dead by Daylight or something like that. But I always scroll back up and address everything. So like I said, I think that my viewers really like that aspect of me. I'm just me though. I don't put on a facade or put on an act of how I am when I stream. That's my personality in real life. And I think that people appreciate that, because it's not like over the top. Because some people, they do kind of do an act where they're over the top, and that works for them. It's not like knocking them. It's just it works for some people. But I would, quite frankly, sound fucking stupid doing it. So I'm like, no, that wouldn't work for me. And I think people could tell, because I'm a bad liar. So I don't bother doing it. Like I said, I'm literally just me. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, there's not gonna be any secrets here. I can't help but say I do. Pretty sure my face probably has a lot to do with it. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, and no, I don't mean that in like me saying it's like gassed up or cocky, right?
Right. She happened to be real cool, you know what I'm saying?
She just happened to.
No. I mean, it's that's just honesty right there, the thing is, like, I don't want necessarily for me to get anywhere with streaming because of my appearance, which is why I typically have a bit more of a moderate dress when I stream. And that's not anything knocking against women that choose otherwise, but that's me, because I don't like being looked at as a piece of meat. I've never liked that. Whatever. Not to say like when I go out I don't look nice or whatever, and you can't really avoid having cleavage. It just is a thing. But it's don't intentionally try to dress a certain way when I stream, because I want for people to, and that's outside of streaming. I want for people to appreciate me and to, I guess, acknowledge my work as opposed to how I look on the outside, because at the end of the day, that's not going to last forever. You know, my physical appearance I'm not always going to be 23 and an attractive young woman. Not to necessarily say I'm going to be ugly when I'm 50, but obviously I'm going to have wrinkles and be old and shit. So it's like, I want to have something that can last, you know what I mean? And and I apply that to kind of all aspects of my life. So, but I'm not going to be ignorant and not acknowledge that does have a lot to do with it. Because people like to assume that, and I don't know why they do this, but people like to assume that all female gamers are like ugly, and like, just, I really don't know why, because most of the ones that I've seen, at least in today's day and age, are attractive women. They're cute, or they're pretty, or whatever else. So it's like, I don't know. It's still an assumption. I mean, the stereotype kind of holds true for men too. I mean, we still have people that think that all gamers are kind of like that South Park episode where they were playing World of Warcraft.
Wait, no, you got the lean.
He was leaning with it. Like, there's people that still have that perception of how gamers look. So that is something that applies to both men and women. So I'm glad you guys caught that reference, by the way, because some people like hit it like, what? And it's like I think that's my favorite episode of South Park.
That episode was amazing.
It was.
So good. And yeah, that whole Revenge of the Nerds thing. Yeah, I mean, there's still a preconception from so far back.
Absolutely. And it's just, and yeah, so I think that, you know, when people do because people do have those, you know, preconceived notions when they see something that's challenging that, it's like, oh shit, let me get on that or whatever, which is, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's kind of existed for a long time, unfortunately, but, you know, and I'm looking obviously for ways to improve. One thing, shout out to Asia, by the way, Chasing Lux, you know, because she's, I don't know how long she's been streaming, but I always like to take constructive criticism of streaming and things like that. And I've obviously improved on many different fronts from the time that I started. But one thing that I want to kind of try to start doing is like going back and rewatching my streams. Only reason that I haven't, because I just don't have time, because I told you there's times where I end up streaming 7 hours.
Yeah.
And rewatching that whole thing is, man.
Yeah.
Like it's
it's
rough.
Between stuff and like check out sections.
Yeah, because I feel like that's just impossible for me to do. So, but I do want to start doing it, and I really don't even think that I specifically did anything to get to the point of having 1,500 followers. I mean, I play games that, I mean, obviously I'll do polls on Twitter to see what people want to see me stream, but it's out of games that I want to play. Mm-hmm. I pretty much am never going to force myself to play a game that I don't want to play. Henceforth, yeah. Would I probably get a good amount of views maybe playing Call of Duty? Yes, but I'm not going to fucking play it because I don't like Call of Duty.
Because you're trash. I'm just kidding. I don't know. You might got the skills.
She might be good.
I don't know that eyebrow raising up at me.
I'm good at shooters, all right. Don't underestimate me.
Hey.
Don't underestimate me. I'm just saying.
Throw your ass under the bus.
Yeah, I mean, and it's in same thing with sports games. You know, it's just, but I don't. That's the thing. Like, I'm really not in it for the views. Yeah. I'm not in it for subscribers or followers or whatever else. If that comes, that's cool. But did you just make a face?
Who you pull me?
Yeah.
I'll read
I was waiting for it. I was like,
so chat's like, see, Dreamman Infested one his ass beat. PK ain't playing with him. And I was like, you got to catch them hands.
Whoa.
I'm just saying. I got not in Call of Duty, but I got receipts in other games. I'm not. That's the one thing I will say, because that's another thing, another stereotype. And I'm not saying you're doing that dream or anything like that. But again, like, I do think that there's people that like that genuinely think that like women, not you, Dream, like I said, but like there are people that like come in my stream and like they're trying to like backseat game, like trying like, oh, let me join with you, I'll help you. Well, clearly I don't need help. Like I'll be playing Overwatch and I'm like, I literally get play of the game or like most kills or most objective kills, and like I'm like, well, clearly I don't need help. I got this. But I appreciate it anyway. But I think there's this kind of like assumption that girls kind of don't know what they're doing, and I thought about that based off what you said. But I know you're giving me shit, but
But that's another thing I want to I know we're kind of getting off topic. A very quick thing. I know a lot of people like to come into streams and like say stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you ain't gonna do shit. Like, we have an established relationship. Like, we've played with each other. We know each other. We joke with each other. We're not offensive to each other. If you try to come into somebody's stream and do that and be like, hey, yo, let me carry you real quick, like, you're gonna offend them. Don't do that.
Right, exactly. It just sucks, and it's just don't assume that I don't quite know what I'm doing, even if, and like I said, I don't claim to be like this MLG, pro gamer or whatever. And I really didn't, for the most part, start playing shooters until later on in my life, because I wasn't big online when I was younger. I was more so like the single player, and about the most multiplayer shit I did was like Mario Party and like stuff like that, because I was basically really big PlayStation or Nintendo person. I'm more of a Sony Nintendo girl. But yeah, I mean but unfortunately that happens, but it's okay. But anyway, yeah, I really didn't expect to. I from the last few months, since I've become more consistent in my streaming, I've definitely noticed my views and my followers go way up at like a rate. For whatever reason, people enjoy watching me stream Killing Floor, and I have no idea why.
Because that junk is fun.
It's fun, but I'm just like, of all the games that I play, like I get more viewers on Killing Floor than I do on Outlast, and it's just really it's crazy. Yeah, it's just I didn't think that, because Killing Floor is fun as fuck, but at the same time it's kind of, I don't want to say repetitive, but not in a boring way, obviously, but it's repetitive to an extent. So I was just shocked that like I was getting like 60 and 70 viewers on a stream of Killing Floor, and I'm like, all right, this is great. I'm not complaining or anything, but I of all games that I stream, I definitely didn't expect it to be that.
Totally with you.
But like I said, I stream the games that I want to stream. I know, and don't get me wrong. There's like, I get requests, like people like, oh, I want to see you play RE7. I want to see you play Evil Within. Like, and that's different, because those, even though I'm just being a scaredy cat, which I don't know how I'm not playing those games when I'm playing Outlast. Don't ask, because I'm sure Outlast is way worse.
It's 100% worse. I can tell you that now.
Yeah. So but it's, and I'll take suggestions like that, because that kind of is right up my alley. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna force myself to play something that I'm not gonna truly enjoy just for the sake of views. Because first I know I'm gonna suck, because I have tried playing. Somebody taught me how to play 2K once, and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch sports instead of play them, even though I'm more of a football girl than basketball. But it's just I'm me, and I really didn't expect to get to this point, to the point that I'm at. Definitely did not see myself anytime soon getting any people subscribing or being hyped. Like, people started asking me like, "Whoa, where's your emotes and where's your this?" and like, stuff like that. And it feels great. It really does, because I like, wow, you like to watch me, you like to hear me talk and just sit here and look at the screen like this sometimes, or like get like jump when I'm playing something. Like, it's that's a confidence boost in the fact that I feel like people like me and people enjoy me. So I really don't think I have a formula. People gonna ask me how you do it, and I'm like, I just do my own thing, I guess.
That's right, be your own.
I can dig it. All right, the last question that's on here, you kind of already answered it, but if there's something else that you'd like to kind of just touch on before we get to the gaming news, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay.
What are your future plans in general?
In general, like outside of the scope of gaming, or in the scope of gaming, or
either?
Okay. I won't give you a big long spiel about it. I get asked this actually a lot. I'm gonna be going to grad school probably next year. I'm looking to get my degree, because I have my undergraduate degrees in history. Okay. I'm looking to probably join a program out in North Carolina for peace and conflict studies. I want to do human rights work.
Okay, then.
Because that's where my passion lies is humanitarian work, human rights work. Like I said, I want to do. I've always kind of like I started off doing like wildlife science. I still love animals. And I still would love to do environmental activism and stuff like that. I'm not one of those PETA people. Don't get me confused with them. Fuck PETA. But I've always kind of had this image of me trying to make the world a better place, and trying to do my part however I can. And obviously, I would still want to work with animals and things like that, but I also want to do it on the human front. So like I said, human rights work and potentially human rights law, kind of throwing that idea around. Eventually, when I get married, have kids, have a family. I'll get my doctorates probably after that because that's going to take fucking forever. And just seeing kind of where my streaming goes. I'm looking always for ways to improve. Working a pretty nice job so I can finally get a capture card because those shits aren't cheap. Yeah. Just finding better hardware. Eventually, I'm not going to make the switch, but I'm going to add it to my repertoire of PC gaming. I'll never leave PlayStation. Mm-hmm.
Same.
And just I would love to continue with that and to keep doing it. And just see how far I can get with that. And I'm gonna be soon purchasing my tickets for TwitchCon, and and just I want to start attending more conventions and doing more networking and things of that nature. And like I said, just seeing kind of where it goes. If it doesn't, then that's okay. That's why I went to college and have something to, because that's not my obviously main thing that I do. I do it for fun.
Yeah.
Would I enjoy doing it as a full-time thing at some point? Sure, why not? Maybe we'll see. But just seeing where it can go, and just I want to have fun with it is the main thing, and while still making a difference, obviously. So.
Yeah, man. TwitchCon. Very quick thing about TwitchCon. If people are going to TwitchCon, hit me up on Twitter. Let me know that you're going to be there. I know Pikachulita is going to be there. At least for Saturday?
Saturday,
yes. And that is when myself, Andrea, Janae, and Denny are going to be having a panel at TwitchCon. Really excited about it. Hopefully people will come out to show some love for it and also to learn some things. We're hoping to educate people and also kind of continue the discussion on how to make Twitch a more inclusive environment for people. And we'll be talking about some of our experiences that we've had as streamers, as well as things that we've noticed and saw opportunities to make Twitch better in. On that same vein, we're going to talk a little bit about gaming. So we had some time to get deep down and personal with Pikachulita, learn a lot is her.
Sorry it took so long.
I mean,
that's all good.
This is
You're
all
a complex person. It's okay.
It's been, Tat is more than happy to have you here. So it's a very exciting. It's always exciting to have our stream, but it's very exciting for us to have you here talking about.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, gaming news. What are you playing? And we're going to start on my right with Mr. KK Asaurus.
Playing Overwatch. I just played Masquerada Songs and Shadows, which I kickstarted back after PAX last year, which was really solid.
What is
and it's like a strategy RPG.
What is it called again?
Quick. Masquerada Songs and Shadows. I can see if I can find the site for you and put it in the comments. It's pretty short, but it was really fun. And just started playing some Destiny again too to prepare for Destiny 2. So got back into that because my roommate started playing.
Did you play the beta for Destiny 2?
I did.
Okay. Thoughts?
Withholding. The beta for Destiny 1 withholding.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
It is. That is fair.
This dude dreaming.
He always trying to stir the pot. Jesus Christ.
That's what we gotta stir the pot. That's how you get the mission. That's how you get the food ready.
Fair enough.
You know,
you gotta get the ingredients together.
Yep.
What you got to say? What you got to say up there? Huh?
You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what improvements they've made.
I really enjoy Destiny, especially like after taking King. It's a solid game, and I always forget how much I like it. Like going back, I forgot how much I used to love it, and that's what happened last time I went back to it too.
Isometric action
So,
RPG.
I'm excited for it. I'm kind of excited to start over and have to get all my stuff again.
I feel you, I understand.
I can dig it. What about you, Mr. Dream Manifested?
Well, I did play the Destiny 2 beta, pretty heavily for a while. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competitive PvP a lot. And as far as the story elements that they had, again, I will say that they look better, the dynamic lighting is better, and they did a better job as far as storytelling and cinematics. I've also been playing Lawbreakers recently. A lot of Lawbreakers. And it's a lot of stress because when it first dropped, I know you remember, Will, when Black Ops 3, I can't remember if it was the game or was the beta when it first dropped.
Both.
It was both of them. Yeah, when it first dropped, we couldn't really connect. We got one game and like maybe two games in a whole hour. And so Lawbreakers was really tough as far as like it was constantly lagging. What I'll say about Lawbreakers is when you're by yourself, expect heartache. But if you have a team to play with, then it's a really good experience. I liken it to the more mature cousin of Overwatch. As far as like the violence and as well as the art style and such. Mm-hmm. But they're both, you can enjoy both of them, within their own respect. And then other than that, Hellblade Sensua, I played a little bit of that. I haven't given it as much time as I should, really. Just because I've been working on some other things, but that's a really beautiful game. Oh, yeah.
Dream got cooked.
Man, Project, shut up. Nobody asked you that. Oh, that's the other thing. So I was trying to give an honest and slightly unbiased opinion, but they steal the hell of my kills in that damn game. In the games with 25 assists and whatnot. I ain't got time for that.
25 assists, goddamn.
Exactly.
Damn.
It's fun though.
I mean, yeah, I'm. If I do get the game, I unfortunately have to get it on PC first.
Has to.
And I'll tell you why. Everybody who I've been talking to about the game on PS4 or PC, who have played both, have told me that the game feels a lot different depending on which platform you play it on. I feel like if I play this on PlayStation, I'm going to do really well because I tend to put my sensitivity up higher anyway, and this is one of those games that is inherently slower on PlayStation. If you don't do that, you'll feel like you're moving slower if you don't. So it's one of those things. I haven't played on PlayStation, so I don't know if that's actually the case. But when I did play the beta, the alpha and the beta for this game on PC, like it was relentlessly fast. Like you need to take breaks because of how fast it was. Yeah. But in terms of what I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn some more because that game is phenomenal and beautiful, and I still haven't finished it, but I will. It's definitely on my top games of all time. It's on that list. I've been playing Dream Daddy as well, because that game's phenomenal, and I hope more people give themselves the opportunity to play it because it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of games that are on my agenda for things to play, but I've been playing Overwatch again. Finally got back to playing that some more, and obviously having fun playing it. It's one of those games that's really interesting. Like I'm never gonna not play it because of the views, but I do notice that when I play it, I get a lot less viewers who stick around for most of the time when I play it.
And this is Overwatch, you said?
Overwatch, yeah. And I wonder if that's because, like, when you play Overwatch, especially with other people, you're mostly talking to them more so than talking to the stream. So maybe it's that aspect of it. Maybe it's that people just aren't as interested in watching it, mainly because it's like not really as narratively driven as other games that I play.
Well, I think for Overwatch, because Overwatch is also like part of the MLG circuit now,
Yeah,
Much the same with like Call of Duty. If you're not really playing, like you're not scrimming or whatever have you, if you're not playing it at that capacity or for that reason, not necessarily capacity, but for that reason, it's hard to gain those followers because that's what a lot of the people who are watching those are watching that for, is to watch like the team, the esports teams and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. Yeah,
but yeah.
But in terms of what else is going on, so we talked about what we've been playing, kind of like a wrap-up. There's other smaller stuff I'm sure we've all been kind of dabbling in as well, but that's mainly the stuff that we've been playing. With the Xbox One X coming out soon, Microsoft has been seeing a decline in sales, and we just talked about why we may be... Say that again?
So, well, obviously.
We just talked about, possible reasons for declining in viewership and playing something like Overwatch. Aside from the Xbox One X coming out being the reason why the sales have slowed down for it, do you think there's any other reason for that? So you smirking over there.
That's a great question. My biggest thing is simply because you got the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, everybody's supposedly moving to the 4K world. We don't really have the most cost-efficient 4K TVs out.
Are you just holding a knife as you're talking?
This is a letter opener.
Oh, okay.
And by letter, you mean people? A people opener?
I was kind of wondering the same thing, but I didn't want to ask. I was like,
it's just one of those things that we just have at our...
No, if you check it out, there's also a magnifying glass here. All right.
Twirl some scissors.
We just twirl. Cool. You know what I'm saying? A little revolver.
You do twirl that gun around. So what are you saying?
I do.
That's fake, though.
It is fake.
You got a real thing that could kill somebody.
And my homeboy Christian said it's what happens when there are no games, but also says that Cuphead will save Xbox. And it's funny that such a 2D horizontal shooter is something that's highly anticipated on a system like the Xbox. And to be honest, I'm ready for it as well. So it's kind of strange.
Long ago, was Cuphead announced?
Man, I don't even know. That is
like
a year ago? a while ago.
About a year.
No,
yeah.
Dude, it's been
long. No.
It was longer than that.
Like Game Informer or something, like at least 2 years ago when I actually read that.
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3.
It had to have been it.
Yeah, minimum. Potentially longer.
It feels like.
Because when is it coming out? To this year or next year?
It says this year.
Yeah. I think it's also funny that we're talking about it saving the Xbox when like everybody's talking about.
This was announced in.
Yeah,
I knew it had to be 2 or 3. I knew it.
4K and things looking prettier and better, and we're talking about this game that's meant to look like a cartoon from the 30s, like
exactly
saving Xbox.
Yeah, I'm interested in it, but like this kind of like, I don't want to talk shit about Xbox like that, but I do want to like point out that they have a problem with it. They have a problem with like if you need to delay a game, fine, delay a game, but like they're like. Quantum Break got delayed several times, and it's not a bad game, but it's not like, yeah, fuck, I can't wait, yes. And like Scalebound, never,
Don't break my heart again. We don't need to revisit that, okay?
I wanted to play Scalebound. I was ready for that.
I was contemplating getting, at least temporarily, getting or renting an Xbox just to play Scalebound.
Right.
I was so ready.
And this not to shit on the developers for Cuphead, but like, they were working on it before. What the fuck? Like they were working on the game before the reveal at E3, and we still waiting. If it's gonna be good, if it's gonna be worth the wait, great. But if not, then like, what? I
will say that I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, well, again, I mean, it's kind of like what Dream said. These 4K TVs, a lot of people don't have 4K TVs. They're really expensive. And a lot of people, it's like, well, why am I going to get rid of, well, not necessarily get rid of, but, I have a perfectly fine working TV or, whatever else, or a computer, some people game on their computer monitors. And it's like, why am I going to buy a whole new TV that it's either not going to fit in my room or wherever I game at, or it's just not practical. And then, or you could be like me, who that is part of my reason, because I'm not even investing in the 4K PlayStation. But not only just that, but then it's also I'm also not a graphic stickler. Like I'm not one of these. Okay, well I need 60 frames per second all the fucking time. Like I've never really cared, as long as the game plays and it's not like completely like game breaking glitchy. I don't really care. But I think I remember reading an article not too long ago about how, I think it was 2015 maybe, how the majority of the games that were announced at E3, Microsoft E3 in 2015, are canceled. And or just there's no word on it, which included Scalebound. And I think that kind of put a bad taste in people's mouth almost. And it kind of turned a lot of people off, because honestly, the majority of people that I know and I actually don't know a lot of people that have Xboxes. It's either kind of PC or PlayStation. Those kind of are the two dominating consoles, and platforms. And the people that I do know that have like an Xbox along with like other platforms, they basically use their Xbox for like TV and movies.
Yeah.
And
which is kind of, to be fair, how they advertise their product.
Right. And, then you have like the people that I know that do play Xbox, they play like Gears or like Killer Instinct or things like that. And a lot of people that I've, one of the things that Xbox, that kind of argument for Xbox always was, and I hate console wars. I think they're fucking stupid. But one of the biggest arguments for Xbox was that it has better multiplayer games. Well, you have these multiplayer titles that, Xbox has had, that have been out for a while. Killer Instinct, like I said, Gears, et cetera, et cetera. They haven't had like a really big, solid, exclusive title. And then I feel like a lot of people generally feel that Sony in general has had better like single player games. And with Cuphead, as much as I would love to play Cuphead, I mean, obviously I'm not going to be able to, but
maybe it'll be on PC though. It might be Xbox console exclusive, but it might actually be on PC as well. Like a lot of their first party exclusives are.
Yeah. Well, I at least won't get to play it anytime soon, but I definitely don't foresee it, even though so many people are excited for Cuphead. I don't see it saving the Xbox. I think it's hype for people that already own Xboxes, but do I foresee people going out and buying an Xbox just for Cuphead?
Yeah.
No. I think that people that have the money to might go and do it, but let's be real here. Not even majority of gamers, majority of people in general just don't have the expendable income to be going out and doing that, to just buy a whole console, even though, obviously Xboxes are cheaper than an Xbox One X. But I don't foresee it as saving the console, because I think that it's just kind of, it's been if it was maybe the kind of earlier point of their kind of, I guess, I don't want to call it a downfall, but just their decline in sales. If it were the earlier stages of that, then I could probably foresee it. But because it's kind of been happening for the past few years, I feel like it's almost kind of too late, unfortunately. So
yeah, I think obviously the fact that the Scorpio, I'm gonna call it the Scorpio, man. First one next. The Xbox Scorpio, I'm gonna call it that. I think it's gonna be a really great proposition for people who aren't trying to invest in a PC, because let's be honest, there are a bunch of issues with gaming on PC and a bunch of annoyances to deal with. I adore my PC, and like I literally like use it almost every day. Like when I'm streaming on PlayStation or on PC, I'm using my computer to do it. But Yeah, I think the fact that they don't really have games that are only available on Xbox for the past few years, to be honest, that have been like, oh my god, I need to have it. Like they've had a handful of games that were like, all right, cool, yeah, this is like now that I have an Xbox, I can play this. This is awesome. But Gears of War 4, great game, really enjoyed it. I think it's awesome. It is available on PC as well, but not everybody can get a PC, so that is a compelling reason to have an Xbox. Ori and the Blind Forest. I still never finished the game, but that game is fucking awesome. It is fucking awesome. Help me out here. Dreams.
Hold on, what? What are we talking about? Just Xbox exclusives?
I mean, the ones that you gotta go out and get one for.
Man, I don't have anything. As far as like, I play Xbox, and one of the biggest reasons that I have Xbox is because that's what me and my round table have always played over the past decade. Yeah. But so the way that I do it is really the reason why I had Xbox and PlayStation is because I get PlayStation 4 exclusive, and usually for the single player, and I get Xbox for things that are multi-platform, really. Yeah. Until you came along, and now I had to try to either get two games or make a decision between, Destiny and all this crap. Yeah, making stuff difficult on the front. I mean, and he not helping out my pockets.
Listen, I have helped your pockets.
You ain't really just like directly gave me bread. I'm just saying. That's all I was saying. But yeah, you're right. So I mean, as far as like exclusives, you have things like
Forza, right? We have Forza.
You have Crackdowns and things like that.
Crackdown. I'm trying to think of like those games that are must-have on Xbox that like you would buy an Xbox for.
I'll have to think. Let's see. What have I played that's on Xbox?
Well, all right. So Xbox is great. And then for the One X is going to be awesome for multi-platform games. It's going to be awesome. Podcast with Cookies is better. It is better.
Okay, I'm totally not gonna lie.
Who has cookies?
Over here growling, and I literally have like a thing of chocolate chip cookies. And when he came out with that cookie, I was like, I didn't know if I could eat on the podcast.
No, you can eat.
Sorry, post-gym hunger like sank in.
No. I feel you. That like no, but I was like when I saw him come back with the cookie, I'm like, he has the cookies. That means I can have my cookies too.
I had a chocolate chip waffle yesterday. That was good.
Oh, sounds good.
Waffle House. The awful waffle. What happened? What y'all see?
You threw something.
No, it was just a highlighter,
Oh, okay.
Fucking flip your table. You want cookies?
Right.
I love cookies.
Any Hooters. One game that also has recently dropped, and I don't have it myself, but I've seen a lot of people playing it and a lot of people getting hype about it, was Sonic Mania.
Okay. Yeah.
Is Sonic Mania the perfect throwback?
I
think she paused it while she went to get her cookie.
I did. Because I got on like... Did it? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Oh, fuck. No. I'm back. Sorry, I have on like booty shorts right now. I didn't want to get up and like, flash everybody.
That's okay. I could think of worse scenarios.
I'm sorry. I'm totally sorry. Is it better now?
No, it's good. It's good now.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
You're good.
Luckily, my cookies are like right here.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Sonic Mania. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about it.
I mean, it looks awesome. It pretty much just looks like Sonic 2. Yeah. And that's the best and the worst thing about it is that it looks just like Sonic 2.
Yeah. I mean, they've added like a few extra thingies in there, but like I'm also like I love Sonic, but this didn't really do that much for me in terms of excitement because like I played Sonic 2 religiously growing up. Like I played Sonic 3 so entirely much. Like great games, but I'm not gonna like start throwing some bows to go grab it.
So with that said, when you play a game, was it well put together?
It was well put together, yeah. It was fun.
How was the audio great? Because Sonic soundtracks are usually pretty fire.
in relativity to the time it was made in, you know, the audio quality wasn't like, oh my god, like I got some surround sound headphones on and it sounded late as fuck, but it was great. It was fun. I'm not saying it's bad. Like Kevin said, it's not bad. It's just they
So
could've just
okay, what
released
is
it on-
Sonic Mania? Is it like a compilation of different Sonic games, or is it just Sonic?
It's like a new Sonic game, but in the style of like the original 2 or original 3.
I thought it was a
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was like a compilation because that reminds me of like Sonic Collections or Sonic whatever. And
Sonic Legends.
Yeah, like something like that. That's what I thought it was. But
My favorite Sonic was Sonic CD, to be honest.
Okay, interesting.
That was the best one, in my opinion. Sonic CD was fire.
y'all know I like those 3D Sonic. So
Yeah, I love Sonic Adventure.
The most trashy ones ever.
Sonic Adventures
Sonic
was
is trash.
Whoa.
Trash.
Whoa, hold on.
Trash.
Oh, we're gonna have to double team him. Listen.
I'm just kidding. I
gonna-
kid.
I was about to say,
At
don't
best.
disrespect the Child Garden, all right?
You about
I
to
spent
get
so many
dis-
hours there.
I
lived in the Child
That's
Garden.
right. That's right. I had a Dreamcast, had a little cartridge that you can, the virtual cartridge. Take it
Yeah.
off. Yeah, man.
Right.
I told you my Dreamcast was great, and just one day I came to turn it on and it wouldn't turn on. I was like, oh, all right,
Oh, I would have been sick.
this is what we doing.
And just one quick thing about, no. We're not even gonna go down that road right now. We're about to talk about Dynasty Warriors, but we ain't gonna do that right now. We are gonna talk about Hellblade, because you've been playing Hellblade, and I'm very interested in playing it. And I wrote an article and did a video a while back about my conspiracy theory about Hellblade, which is probably not true at all, but it was more interesting than it was like actually real. But there were a lot of similarities between some of the aspects of Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, and like Hellblade, Heavenly Sword. The character was going through a lot of mental instability and illness, whereas Kai from Heavenly Sword also did as well, and they had some similar face markings. What has the experience been like for you?
Who are you asking?
You,
Me?
because you don't want to hear who
No.
played it. God damn it,
Man,
Quasi
I told you that I haven't put enough hours. So it's really fun. What I like about it so far, aside from its visual, is like the puzzles and the way, I don't know, like the puzzles are good, the combat is good, the fact that you have the opportunity for permadeath is something that, like, its level of difficulty, it's not an easy game by any means. So I need to stream it, but it's not an easy game by any means. So I like games that are difficult and provide a challenge. So games like this and Bloodborne, something that can potentially make you mad, but when you get the shit right, you're like, yeah, bitch, I did that. Walk off on it, right? So yeah. But other than that, I just haven't put enough time in to have my thoughts completely together on it. But so far, so good.
I will do the source as one of my mods. I will ask you guys about Dynasty Warriors if you're excited about Dynasty Warriors 9. I just wrote in the chat that I am not really that excited. I used to really like Dynasty Warriors, and then it got to a point where I started getting a little bit annoyed with certain aspects of them. So certain aspects as in, like, you would run into a crowd, they would all just kind of stare at you for a little while you're just like fucking them up, and the ability to cancel out of moves to block or dodge just wasn't really there. I don't know if that's been changed. I've been looking at gameplay of it recently, and it hasn't really. Large expansive maps with like nothing really going on in them except for just kind of like the base standard: go to crowd, kill everything, go to crowd, kill everything. I just think they missed opportunities to take it a few steps further and like really do some interesting things. So
now, as far as 9, is 9 going to be like straight Dynasty Warriors, or is 9 another one of the Dynasty Warriors-esque games, like for another game or setting or whatever? Like the Dynasty Warriors styles that I find that are most intriguing, or at least get me wanting to pick up a controller, are the ones that are from other video games.
Like Gundam.
Like the Gundam, the Zelda one, and
Yeah.
things like that. Because at this point, as you say, we're on 9, and it's still been the same formula.
yeah,
Go kill the mob, there's going to be a slightly stronger ad that's in there. Kill him and go to the next territory or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they still haven't figured out how to make ground textures look like the ground. Like, I'm looking at it right now and I'm just like, bruh.
Yeah, man, come on, that look like the ground. That's just rocks, you know what I'm saying? And yeah. I mean, at least it's got some of that next gen engine behind it. Look at that. Look at this shade.
The grass.
See, and look how good them little tumbleweed bushes look, just because they only have like two of them out of every fucking mile of sand. I'm just saying, you're not helping the case. You're proving your point, but not helping this case. So, what was the answer for Dynasty Warrior? How could you have continued this far into Dynasty Warrior and make it innovative? Because someone clearly is playing the game and buying it.
Yeah. I mean, I would have a recommendation for like this video I've seen before, like those shadows of that's just a visual thing. Don't worry about it. Like animations like this climbing this right here. What the fuck is that? You'll see in a second. Like it's just like there's already
that's that old school Die Hard trilogy climbing.
There's already a formula in place to like fix it. They've made games where it was, I don't know, it's just certain things. Like it sounds like I'm being nitpicky, but like if they really wanted to, they could have a much more engaging style. Like there's some cool shit happening, but I don't know. It just feels and looks like, look at like all the enemies are just staring at him while he's fucking them up. Like they're not even responding.
Hillsville said that's some PS2 nonsense right there.
Some PS2 nonsense. Like the games are still stuck in PS2 era, and like we have games that are doing combat and like actual mission structure and actual like historical events happening in a much more interesting and hands-on way.
Listen, when you have games like, and I'm gonna go back to one of my favorites. You have games like Shadow of Mordor, when literally a fucking captain will run across the map because he hears some shit popping off. There's no reason why you should be in a crowd of people and they're staring at you, because in the Shadow of Mordor you can't get away with shit. Like you will literally you will alert the whole entire area if you are in a fight, and it doesn't even matter. You could probably pinch somebody and everybody's reacting.
I played
Shadow
of Mordor before I was streaming, and something ridiculous happened. Like I was fighting a group of people, then their alarm went off. I was like, all right, cool, I'm ready for this fight. I'm pretty good at the game. I'm fucking people up, like dashing and countering. There's no countering in this game. There's countering and like moving and dashing and fucking using the arrow teleport thing, doing all this dope shit. And then like a captain comes out. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna fight this captain while I'm fighting all these people. And then like I take him down, and then another captain comes out. And then mid-fight, another one comes out. And then the dude I took down before comes back out. Like, again, like you said, when it's games like Shadow of Mordor, like,
I've had 3 captains run up on me at once, and when I tell you that the one captain literally ran across the map, like he was nowhere in that fucking area. I wasn't in a compound. I was literally like out like in the open. And this dude, I don't know how he made his way over there, but he found me and fucked me clean up. Like I was like, and it was one of those captains. It was one of those captains that really didn't have any weaknesses. So like, because I would usually rely on like headshots from arrows. That's how I like took out compounds. Was like I would try to get as many people like by sneaking, being stealthy, and like arrow headshots, or I would just run into the compound on Karagor and then fuck shit up and run out, or try to. I like to lure Graugs into like compounds or like near compounds, because then he just demolishes everybody. Right. But like that was before I had the mounting abilities. So God, I mean, it was just, and that happened to me at least a few times. And that one same captain, it was one of the captains who didn't even touch me, but because he was involved, he leveled up on me a solid like 7 times. And I said, all right, I'm gonna come back for you later. And I left him alone for a while. But it's just like, there's no reason why you should go into a crowd of people just staring at you while you have games like Shadow of Mordor out. Because like, you can't do shit in that game without somebody like running up on you, basically.
So
that's how it is. That's how it should be.
And I just told the chat, regrettably, I have not played Shadows of Mordor yet, so I might cop it today.
Are they flaming you right now?
They not really. They let me live.
They got sell on PlayStation for super cheap.
I also have this thing where I don't finish games. But yeah.
Oh, I 100%. I didn't platinum Shadow Mortar, but I 100% completed it. And that's what I was gonna say, Oni, because you had said earlier like that you hadn't finished Horizon yet. I still haven't, because I know with games like that, I have to get every skill on the skill tree. I have to do I don't have to really find all the collectibles as much, but like I don't like rushing through games to like beat like story driven games or whatever. And so like it's like I'm not far at all, and I'm like, this is gonna take me for fucking ever. It took me a while to
love it.
I think it took me like a year to beat Shadow of Mortar, but when I beat that shit, damn, it felt so fucking good. Like, and obviously it would take me quicker if I played it again, but because I know what I'm doing and I know where like how to do stuff. But yeah, so you need to play it. Absolutely, get that shit. It's cheap as fuck on PlayStation.
Bet I'm about
It's
to
on
hit
sale
up.
like every other weekend. So if it isn't on sale right now, wait like a week and it probably will be.
Yeah,
So I'm about to look.
it was on
that.
sale for like $8 or something the other week,
Yeah.
or $8 or something like
Well,
that.
Undertale is on PlayStation now too.
Yep. Mhm. That it is.
So now we have the final part of our podcast. Not that I want to cut it short, but I know folks got things to do, and we'll always have an opportunity to kind of play some more today and do stuff. But we're going to talk about stuff and junk, and this is where the stream will get a little serious again. We talked about some serious things earlier. We're going to talk about some serious things again. So very recently in America, I know that we have people who are outside of the U.S. In this community. We had a group of people who were part of a white supremacist nationalist group protesting in opposition to removing the Confederate statues from Charlottesville, Virginia. And there were counter-protesters who took it upon themselves to stand up for it, because many of the people in that group were literal neo-Nazis, literally people affiliated with the KKK, literally people who we usually, as a nation, decry and we stand against and we oppose, we stand up to. And someone died in the wake of this event. It's really unfortunate, really sad. Many people got injured as well. Activists who were protesting against the white nationalists and supremacists who were there. So I wanted to kind of open the floor to you guys to kind of discuss some of the stuff that happened. And I want to read something to you that I posted on Facebook not too long ago, and people seem to be responding well to, as we kind of frame any discussion that happens moving forward. So I'll actually just like straight up read it out loud instead of shortening it. I made a very interesting observation the other day when I posted a few articles and things in the media pertaining to what happened and kind of how our president handled it and kind of what happened as a result of that. He kind of went on this huge tirade about there were bad people on both sides, there are good people who are a part of this white supremacist notion, everybody's to blame, et cetera, et cetera. And I tried to have conversations with people about that, and some were kind of bringing up white privilege. And I noticed that a lot of people didn't really understand what it meant when people talked about it, when we mentioned it in conversations. So it's not an assumption that because you're white, you have rose-tinted experiences, or that your life is automatically better than a person of color's life. Trust, many of us know white people who have had worse lives than us, who have gone through physical, sexual, mental, or socioeconomic abuse. If we ignore that there's pain there, we lose a part of what makes us human: empathy. Help one group going through legitimate hardship, and you'll likely help others. Bring balance to the system. White privilege is not a choice, at least by most white people that you know from these past few generations, but a systematic leg up above their ethnic peers. Systematically, for countless generations, white people have had a head start in America. They came to this country with the sole intent of taking over this land, and succeeded in doing that since 1942. white people have not. Sorry, white people have been amassing land and wealth since 1942. 1492. God, I'm like dyslexic right now. But, well, anyone else?
I was like 1942. That's a really random year for you to be mentioning.
No, that's very,
weird.
very recent. While anyone else who was not white was given nothing, or in the case of Native Americans living in America, were amidst an attempted genocide. Blacks were property. Black people weren't allowed to own themselves or anything for that matter. White society at that time made that choice, and it wasn't until 1865 that black people could even own themselves. It wasn't until 1965, 100 years later, that black people could even vote at all. We still have black people today who are alive that literally could not vote, who had no say in how our systems worked. 1965 was not that long ago. How could we possibly have created opportunities then for blacks to grow from generations before them? Whites have been building wealth for literal centuries, and we've had to fight that to help other white people empathize with this sentiment to get to where we are today, so that we could be a part of the discussion in how our country is run. So long story short, I am actually going to short it because it's way longer than I even realized. We have this conversation now with people who, free speech. Everybody has a right to free speech. And many people who believe that you shouldn't or can't be violent towards Nazis. Art is my voice. See you later. And what are your reflections from this experience? What are things that you've noticed or have experienced from this?
I mean, I think what really bothers me is that we are we've sort of gone backwards, and we've reached a point where people confuse pride in your country with things that this country traditionally stands against. Like I always picture the guy who was there, touting Nazi propaganda, wearing, the hat of a World War II officer that fought Nazis. Like, we've reached this weird paradoxical place where people think that free speech means you can hate whoever you like and get away with whatever, as long as it's you doing it and not someone else. And I think that that's really problematic.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with Kevin. For sure, definitely. And again, free speech does not mean freedom of consequence. Freedom of speech essentially means that the federal government cannot throw you in jail solely off the sole purpose of writing, like, I hate the president. That's what that means. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that, your job cannot fire you because you got on your social media page and said, I hate black people. And it's people like to use that argument, free speech and free thought and et cetera, et cetera. And one of my favorite things that I've seen kind of going on the internet is, people say like, oh, it's okay if we have a differing opinion. Well, that applies to, I don't like coffee, not I don't like black people. And that's absolutely true. And that's been one of the biggest things since pretty much the election. I mean, it's always been a big thing, but it's been even more prominent ever since the election of Trump, really, where we've had people, acting like it's just as simple as an opinion to hold. And there's so many overlapping things with what happened in Charlottesville about, like you said, is it okay to punch Nazis, or how do we feel about Confederate monuments? And I have special ties to kind of this topic in a multitude of ways. One of them being the fact that because I do have a history degree, because I do study history, all of these notions that the Civil War was not fought over slavery, et cetera, is completely false. And kind of what these generals stood for, what the Confederacy meant, is people are in complete denial about it. I mean, we literally have people that deny the Holocaust even happened. So it doesn't really even surprise me that there's people that are kind of in denial about why the Confederacy existed and why the Civil War happened. It's not to say that there wasn't a multitude of reasons, but it all essentially centered around owning blacks as property and as capital. Also, another thing of it, another kind of tie to it that I have is my father's kind of old. My father's in his 70s. My paternal grandfather was actually born just a few years after they abolished slavery, meaning that his father had him when he was fairly old. So my great-grandparents were actually slaves themselves, which is pretty mind-boggling to me considering the fact that a lot of people still have great-grandparents that are still alive. They see and that they get to, celebrate birthdays with. Well, I don't. And, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know any of that. You know what I mean? I'm sure I could probably find out, but it's that makes it all the more surreal to me. Kind of like you said, it wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't. Mm-hmm. And another tie that I kind of have to this, because that's one thing that I've really been, especially now. I mean, I always have, but especially now about this whole, I remember I tweeted something one day and I had somebody actually come into my mentions. It was actually I think a YouTuber or streamer. I don't think he followed me or whatever, but he just saw it based off a retweet trying to tell me that, punching Nazis is absolutely not okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, he wasn't a person of color. And I said, as far as I'm concerned, you don't get to tell me what is okay and what's not okay. Because these people don't hate you and, quite frankly, want to wipe you out. And it's my last and kind of final tie to it is the fact that, well, a lot of people don't realize that neo-Nazis and people like kind of KKK members, as low as they see Jews, Latinos, blacks, Asians, et cetera, they even more so see people of multiracial backgrounds even lower because it's tainted white blood. You're a half-breed, and I'm mixed. So we're seen as a lot of times the lowest of the totem pole. But also being the fact that I'm not sure if you guys had heard a few years ago about the Kansas City Jewish Center shootings that happened. Basically, a man. It was kind of, there were two separate, I think, buildings, but it was all a part of this like Jewish center that was in Kansas City. Kansas City is very diverse, and he killed a few people. And it was labeled as a hate crime. He's actually on death row right now. He got the death penalty for it. This is the same man, the same exact man that back in, I believe, 2005 or 2006 targeted my family by placing a white supremacy newspaper on our front lawn. I lived in Springfield, Missouri at the time, and he was a native, I believe, of Springfield. And we were in a predominantly white neighborhood, and we were the only house that had this newspaper that had very offensive drawings and articles of blacks, and blacks with the big lips and big noses, and the Latinos with the sombreros, and the Jews with the big nose, and just et cetera, et cetera. It just was very offensive, and we were the only house that got it. It was on the news. He denied that he targeted us, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is the man that also committed a murder in the name of hate. And it always scared me once we found out that was the same man. It's like that could have almost been us, especially because again, my mother being white, being married to a black man with mixed daughters. So this is a topic that I feel very close to and very personally attached to, in the sense that I'm absolutely all for punching and beating the shit out of people that fucking hate me and want me dead, and that think that I'm gross and disgusting, and that I'm basically the exact opposite of their idea of white racial purity. If they had it their way, I wouldn't exist. And when my identity is threatened, and well, not even my identity is threatened, my identity has been threatened, and the identity of my people and just the humanity of my people has been threatened and jeopardized and ridiculed and everything else for so long. I feel that my anger and my feelings towards my opinion that it's okay to punch or jump or do whatever to these people is justified. And I really don't think that it's, as far as I'm concerned, really anybody else's place to tell me otherwise, especially when it's not when they don't have that sort of personal connection like I do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because again, I feel that it's, I mean, kind of like how Kevin said, it's like we're living in a paradox. Well, we're about the only country that, you know, consider me living in Mississippi, I see Confederate things anywhere, any and everywhere. I live in a state where there's a religious liberty bill where you can, you know, a local business can deny gay like let's say a local baker could deny making a gay couple a cake for their civil union or for their wedding off the sole purpose of religious liberty. I've tossed around the idea because there's been times where I bartended and served drinks to a woman that had not one but two Confederate flag tattoos along with Confederate flag flip-flops.
Wow.
And I've really thought about twisting it and being like, oh, it's against my religion to serve you to, yeah, because I really don't want to. But you know, it's I see it a lot here, unfortunately, and that's part of the reason why I'm leaving. But you know, we're one of the few countries that, and I didn't mean to go on such a long spiel. Again, it's just something I really feel really strongly about. We're one of the few countries that is not ashamed, that has people, and not to say like there's no people in other countries that don't exist that aren't ashamed, but as a collective that is not ashamed. In Germany, you cannot own any Nazi paraphernalia, propaganda, anything. You can't even throw up the Heil Hitler sign as a joke. They will throw you in prison because Germany is actually ashamed of what they did.
Absolutely.
And America in the least bit is not. They're really, and don't get me wrong, you've had some presidents like, you know, Obama and a few other ones that have, you know, apologized specifically to certain people, groups of people that they have committed travesties against. Just like there was this huge up in arms about Obama apologizing for the fact that America nuked the shit out of Japan.
Yeah.
Which he should have, and it wasn't his place to apologize at all. But there were people that said it was like un-American. It's like, because they killed our people. Do you understand the amount of deaths, the amount of harm, just what that caused by dropping those bombs on Japan? You know, it's like that wasn't shit compared to the people that we lost. It just wasn't. And it, you know, so we've had presidents obviously go back and apologize for like Native Americans, the Japanese, et cetera, kind of, but just as a collective, there has not been this mass, we're sorry, or we're ashamed. Because these people, these neo-Nazis, these Confederate, or even the people that sympathize with them, they're not ashamed.
No.
They're proud. They're proud that they did that. And that's why it's this whole, it's heritage, not hate, it's pride. You're erasing history? No. We're not trying to erase it from the history books and said it didn't happen. That's the sort of shit that you do by telling us that Thanksgiving existed and by telling us that Pilgrims got along with the Native Americans.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to do.
Books, and that's totally wrong.
I think we have a problem confusing like glorifying history with forgetting it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what they have confused. So it's like erasing history is what high school history textbooks do. That erases history. But by taking monuments down of people that literally fought to keep a certain people oppressed and in chains, that's not erasing history. That's just saying, like Kevin said, we're not going to glorify it. We're not going to put this person up on a pedestal and commemorate his life and his actions. We can do that for artists. Let's do that for you know, poets or Edgar Allan Poe or Robert Burns or whoever. Because as far as I'm concerned, these Confederate generals didn't contribute anything to the good of the country or the good of man in general. So it's like he said, commemorating. We're not erasing history. Get rid of those shits. Get rid of them. They're not needed. They're not necessary. And that's a sort of pride thing. And everybody likes to make the argument, well, can you name one person in the 18th, 19th century that wasn't racist? Probably not. So, okay, here we are. You know, well, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe we should just take all the fucking statues of people that are racist down. That's fine with me. We don't need fucking statues. I'm fine without statues. I do not need statues to take me to work on time and pay my fucking bills. I am okay. You know what I mean? It's just people just have these really shitty and I feel like irrelevant arguments when it comes to this stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And take it from someone who actually got I feel even more attached to this because this is literally what I studied in college. my one of my professors is a Civil War historian, and even she will tell you what these things were fought over, and the sort of disgusting things that happened. Hell, we even talked about how in that same class, it almost made me cry. We ended up talking about Nat Turner and what they did to him. For those of you that don't know, they skinned him alive, quartered him, which means they cut off all his limbs and cut off his head, and they paraded him about the town to set an example and say, if you try to rebel, this is what's going to happen to you. And I was one of the few Black people in that class, and I literally was fighting back tears because it's like just hearing that. I appreciated her so much because in college you get these professors that don't hold back, and they will tell you what happened and how things actually happened. So I appreciated her, but hearing that, it just kind of really put things into perspective for me. But she, like I said, is literally a Civil War historian, and even pre-Civil War is her, leading up to the Civil War. And she even said the same thing. So it's like, if you have actual historians who are sitting here telling you what these things mean and what these things signify, why is it still up for debate? Why are you questioning people who've spent their whole lives, their academic careers, studying this stuff? And it's people stuck in their own ignorant ways because it's not convenient for them. And they feel that this is how I said I feel about my identity and stuff being threatened, they feel the same way. Which, again, that ties into white privilege. You're not threatened in the way that you think that you are. Just because the country's becoming more diverse doesn't mean that you're being threatened. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I read an article that was this woman who was interviewing someone who used to be a white supremacist, who used to be affiliated with the KKK, actually, specifically. And he touched on that. He touched on that feeling of feeling threatened and feeling like something that was once...
Was that the Univision interview? The Black woman?
Yeah.
It was Univision, yeah.
He talked about how he took a step back and realized at a certain point that what they were doing specifically, but these were people who were hurt in some way or another, and they needed something to be upset about. They needed something that they can put blame on, and they found that throughout history, it had been what had changed throughout history, what had significantly changed about their family's generations. And part of that was the fact that Black people could now have a say in what happens. And so I'm not saying this is the only, and this is the reason or any justification for people joining this cause.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah.
This is what he said on that matter and what he felt about it. And like you said, there's this conception that in order for one ethnic group of people to be prosperous, everyone else has to suffer. And I don't really understand. I understand why people might think that, but I don't understand where that initially came from, aside from, hey, something like affirmative action, for example, which I just learned recently was intended to apply to white women when it was first conceived, when it was first created. This idea that now I won't get something because a woman wants it. Now I won't get something because a Black person wants it. And so now they're seeing that, they're perceiving that as a direct threat to what they already have going on, what they've had the luxury of having going on for a long time. And if you look at the very front-facing truth of that, if someone takes a job, if you're in the running for a job and someone gets that job because they're a woman or because they're Black and you're not, technically speaking, you don't have that job because of them.
I mean, ultimately, this is the thing. When people say like people are taking their jobs, people don't take jobs. Other people hire them because they'll work for less or because they're more qualified. That's it.
Right. And then also the fact that they want to have a diverse workforce.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Think of how a company is going to look that does nothing but hire a whole bunch of older white men. Their company is going to look kind of funny in the light. Yeah. And so you've got a lot of these, companies nowadays who are, like you said, they're gonna go out of their way to hire Black or Latino or Asian women, because they're trying to adapt to the times, and they're also trying not to risk getting sued by the EEOC, which is completely understandable. And that kind of brings up, the whole kind of thing with the dude that worked at Google and his whole manifesto and how he got fired. And it's like, do y'all understand what would have happened if he would have kept that job?
Yeah.
How many lawsuits Google would have gotten hit with from the EEOC and from probably multiple other places? They did the smart thing, not even just from an ethical standpoint, but from a business standpoint. They did the right thing because they knew that their ass was going to be grass. They did not fire him, even if they didn't necessarily want to fire him. They knew that was a smart thing to do. And and like you said, you found out that affirmative action was originally for women. Yeah, let's be honest here. And this is another thing that I had amazing professors at the University of Southern Mississippi that, they were predominantly white, but man, they just knew their stuff, and they had no sort of bias in it. The feminist movement, the women's rights movement fed off of the civil rights movement. Absolutely. Absolutely. They played off of each other like hell. Mm-hmm. That's just what they did. And like you said, Title I-X and affirmative action and all that stuff, that was initially intended for women, not for Black people, but for women. And, like you said, they're looking for people to kind of place their blame on. Like you said, what is the big shift? What is one of the biggest changes that you've seen in society or in this country, just on a global scale?
And recently, last 60, 50 years?
50 going on 60. Is diversity, Blacks getting equal rights and things like that. So, like you said, they're looking. That to them is the most sensical thing to place.
Well, it's the easiest
the blame on. Yeah, it's the easiest thing, because then it's like it doesn't require any really thought for the most part, and it's just like, hey, Black people and Latinos or Asians or whatever else. And like you said, we have these. Like Kevin said, it's not even people taking their jobs. It's employers doing the smart thing, because the employers have to literally get with the times. As I was getting ready for this podcast, I overheard something on TV in the living room about how, what is it called? What do you call the people that give money to like startup companies? What do you call them?
Angel investors.
No, not angel investors. It's something investors. Anyway, these sorts of basically people or companies that give money to startup companies or people to start their own business and stuff like that. The majority of, obviously, these companies, they give more money to companies, these little startup companies that have creators or CEOs that are all white men, and less money to ones that either have women in them or all women companies. And the amount of money that they get has actually decreased, that the women get compared to men has actually decreased since 2015. So it's like you still have this sort of, just in general, gender bias for the most part, but even then racial bias. And there's so much overlap when it comes to socioeconomic disparity and stratification. There's so much overlap when you get into these topics, and you could literally just pinpoint at different factors for days. But it's a smart business move for when it's like Kevin said, you have these immigrants who are going to work for less. Because I literally saw something the other day about how in Liberia, in Liberia, 25 to 75 Nigerian dollars is still less than $1 US dollar. Mind you, this is a country that has crippling poverty and is in a lot of places still a third world country. And you've got these immigrants who are going to come over here and work for less because, in their countries, it's still better than what they would have back at home. They're wanting to do that. And so they're, of course, the companies are going to take the easy way out and hire the people that are going to work for less. And I don't even know why people complain, because it's like, I know your ass would not be on that fucking roof in the fucking 100-degree heat, because I know my Black ass wouldn't be. So, so it's like, why are you complaining when you know you wouldn't be doing that work anyway, 9 times out of 10? But it's the smart move. And again, you've got these diversity initiatives and things like that for a reason. Is because people are realizing, even some companies, not all, realizing you can't put this certain group of people at the top anymore. You're going to have to let these other people in, because that is we have a changing demographic.
Well, that's
and
how
they're doing the right thing. They're doing what they should do, and what demographically how it should be in terms of ratio or percent of ethnic people that you have at a company. But again, these people don't understand the concept or want to, or it's too hard for them to, comprehend. So it's just, they look at the easy way out and say, instead of examining it and actually seeing that actually makes sense for these companies to do this stuff, they're taking our jobs, or they're overrunning our country, or our identity is being threatened. So,
yeah, again, the reason why these policies are here, they're in existence. Again, we talked about it before, is that there are women couldn't vote, black people couldn't vote. These were all systematic things that were a part of our society that have existed for centuries, that we've as a nation have recognized and are trying to address and trying to fix. It takes years to get us to a point where we won't need stuff like this. We won't need affirmative action. We won't need it. This isn't, I'm not the one who came up with it, but I can't imagine that this was intended to be a permanent fix for everything, because this should happen as a natural progression in how we view things. But before it can get to that point, we have to create policies for it.
I mean, somebody in the chat earlier was talking about individualism being sort of at the heart of the problem, and we have a tendency to view the past in like a nicer way. For a lot of these people, it means like they view the past as a time when, for their ancestors, they had everything. They had the money, they had the power. So they automatically assume a return to the ways of the past will make things better, but they totally ignore the fact that for, more than half of the population, the past was not better. The past was a lot worse.
Yeah,
absolutely. And even in the scope of the fact that, let's see, blacks being slaves actually harmed poor whites. Yep. Because rather than giving people jobs and hiring poor whites or putting them to work in the fields, they put black people in to work they put black people to work in the fields.
It ended
for literal free.
Yeah, for free and against their, against their will. So it's like most of the people that proclaim this stuff are 9 times out of 10 poor or working class or lower class, in the lower tax bracket. Yeah. So it's like this way of life was not benefiting you like you thought it was. There was this whole, it does, a lot of people like to argue that it happened because of the reason for the Civil War was economic purposes and stuff like that. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There was economic ties to it. Yeah. But those same economic ties that you're arguing for was the cause for this stuff were the same sort of, that when you delve into it, just proves the point of why you shouldn't be supporting this shit. Because 9 times out of 10, if you came from a poor farmer family and your ancestors are poor farmer, they were being harmed by slavery. The economy in the South was booming because of slave labor. And so these were the people that you had, the poor whites who a lot of times, because they couldn't afford to own slaves, they had to do the shit themselves. And you had all those slave owners who were making all the money and who were able to sell all their crops and stuff.
I mean, it's kind of the same as what we see now, where big, like, corporate farms have taken over from small farmers. Same thing. Those big corporate farms, instead of using machines, just happen to use people that they bought.
Right.
Yeah.
And Source makes a good point that it was economic ties, but slavery was the capital as well. Like, slavery was your measure of success and wealth.
It was, yeah. Because you had to have money to own those people. And they were sold amongst, themselves. And they sometimes sold individuals, but it was a good thing to sell. The most popular thing to do was to try to sell families together. It's like a package deal. Get one and get the wife for the, whatever.
Yeah.
So they can make babies, basically. And again, it makes no sense when you know the facts. It just sounds even more and more stupid, and it's so mind-boggling. And so it's almost like the more educated you are about this topic, the more and more frustrating it gets, because it's like and you know how shit was, and you know how this went down and why this happened, and it's I'm not going to say that being educated is a burden, because it's absolutely not. It's one of the greatest things to have education about a certain subject and not be ignorant about it. But it causes a lot more to happen inside you emotionally. And that's kind of to the point that I'm at, where like even like last year, especially after the election, I kind of tapped out. I was so I was depressed. I was not really getting out of bed. Like, it was just, it affects you a lot more. And especially when you have ties to it, or when you have a sort of emotional connection, kind of like I do, it weighs on you heavily emotionally. And not even if you have specific ties to it, but again, just if you have that education, you have the knowledge of it, it just doesn't make sense. And you're just, I don't even try to rationalize it anymore, because I realized that I was just thinking myself in circles, and I was not finding a true endpoint to it. So
I believe it was Nelson Mandela said that the greatest weapon known to humanity is education. When you arm people with education that is not right, you create a dangerous weapon. You create a situation where people think there are supremacists on either side. I grew up knowing somebody who was like legitimately a black supremacist. Like, he thought that white people were inferior, like as a straight up like line of thought. I don't associate myself with him anymore, but this is something that he wanted to teach to other people, and that shit's dangerous.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's dangerous in any scope, whether it's religious, ethnic, or any sort of scope for the most part. And it's, especially when you try to make it militant, is when it, and the thing is like when you advocate for obviously the uplifting of a certain demographic, and that's totally a different story. But, realistically, I can't sit here and advocate for Black supremacy, because what about my Native American brothers and sisters? What about my Asian Latino brothers and sisters? Mm-hmm. In the general scope, I'm not going to act like there's not people in those communities that aren't, discriminatory, racist towards Black people. Absolutely, there are plenty. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting, but there's plenty. But as a full general scope, they were not the people that put us in the situation that we were in. They did not cause that. So it's like, I'm not about to, throw them under the bus. I can't, because they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're one of me. They're just like me. If anything, we need to be here together, And
I hate to cut this short, but I do have to get going. I do just want to say, one last thing is, there's no good or bad groups of people. What determines whether someone is good or bad is how they treat everybody else. So, I think that's really what you need to keep in mind as you consider the world today, and consider your own actions. In philosophy, one of the biggest things that determines that whether an action is good or bad on a philosophical level is whether it helps or harms other people. Mm-hmm. And so if you are doing something that by and large harms people, then you yourself, you're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. And I think, I know you said you have to get going. Did you want to say anything else, Dream, in regards to that?
For me personally, it's always hard for me to have certain conversations just because I get so into it, and often because I'm very, into it, that I get a little angry and maybe be able to lose my space. But these conversations have been had several times before, and it gets to a point where it's not so much about the understanding more so than simply the action. So there's plenty of things that can be done in order to change the situation. And personally, that's just where I'm at now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Yeah,
it is personally I'm now, because like I said, I've had these conversations so many times, and people like you, I've been in the classroom where I am very much the minority, so much so that I might be the only person. And so right now there's plenty of things that we can do to support. And so one of the people in the chat mentioned that what's being publicized on TV is definitely the negative. It's all the ugliness, but also one of the things right now within different communities and ethnicities especially even within the Black culture, there's really at this time there's a new renaissance that's going on, and there's for our age, your age, and people younger that they're starting to be happy being themselves, and they're starting to flourish in that. And if you don't highlight that, then that's kind of things that go under the wayside, and those kind of movements and those kinds of things end up dying out, and so you lose out on the potential for the growth, and it just becomes a vicious cycle, and this perpetuates the same stigma that we're having to do right now. So right now, I personally, I know things how they are, but I try to focus on what I can do to change, and a lot of times, you gotta certain things you have to be silent about. Some things you can be vocal about, but ultimately, I wish people would see that just because I want to build, let's say, so I'm Black, right? So if I want to build Black people up, it's simply to do away with a line of thinking to feel that you're inferior and that you can't do, and there's no reason in no way is that to take away from you. Me and Will have had this conversation several times. I've never felt that in order for my light to shine, that I have to dim someone else's light.
Yeah.
Because in the greater picture, it's about everybody's light shining together as a whole. And I think we lose out on the bigger picture of the world when we get hung up on things like this. So yeah.
Yeah. I recently on Saturday went to the Solidarity event in downtown Boston at the Boston Commons. There was a fight supremacy movement to kind of counter the free speech. And I want to be clear about that. There might be some people who are saying you're against free speech. You're against what makes America what it is. That's not what this was about. The reason why this was created, why this event kind of happened, is kind of in light of everything that's been going on. They could have chosen at any different point, any different time in history to decide to do that. And people have heard many times that, people have the right to be Nazis. They have the right to free speech, to their belief in being a Nazi. And that event happened.
You also have the right to get punched in the damn mouth. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, not by the police, but somebody else will do it. Somebody else will fucking do it. And that's. I went there with the intention of being the louder voice amongst them, to show them that America isn't going to fall victim to it again. We won't let it happen. As long as we are continuing to have these conversations, continuing to protest, and hopefully non-violently protest. We've seen revolutions occur through violence before. I'm not saying that's what we need to do to get us to that next step. But I'm in the belief that you be as non-violent as you can within reason. And I went out to show support for that. I went out to show support for literally being against the KKK, being against the Nazis. Like, I made this point to somebody on social media before. If somebody comes to you and they threaten the livelihood of your wife or your husband or someone that is incredibly close and important to you, you are not a violent person. You did nothing to provoke them. You did nothing to cause them to feel this way. This is how they feel. They want to hurt your family. They want to hurt somebody that you care about. And they do this by saying it. They do this by showing acts of aggression. They show this by pointing weapons at you. They show this by having these weapons around you, and they completely continue saying those things that they say they want to do. At what point do you step in and do something? Do you let them shoot or stab your significant other before you do something about it? At that point, who do you blame? Do you blame yourself, or do you only blame that person for doing it? You, in a way, let them do it if they were able to get that far into their literal threats, their literal desire to cause pain to you for no reason. At what
I
point
absolutely agree, and I don't understand why these people are showing up to these protests and rallies with guns, not expecting to get punched in the damn mouth. Sorry. Like, you have a gun. Like, why is it a problem? You could literally shoot me as far as I'm concerned. But it's one of the things that I actually retweeted a tweet about it today. And again, I don't want to go on a huge spiel because I know Kevin has to go. But like, all these people, it literally said something about like how all these people are, complaining about these, radical militant leftists and, that are the ones like counter protesting these white supremacy protests and all that. And they're like, you're complaining about these people, but they said, they're the reason you have weekends. It goes back to the labor movement. People don't realize that labor rights was one of the first it was one of the first progressive demonstrations. Mm-hmm. Rights for the worker, for pay, for, only so, because back before we had any of those regulations, oh man, you could literally be working 18-hour shifts, no break. Children were working in factories, getting killed in the machinery. There were no weekends. You worked pretty much every day. These leftist movements are why the world is the way it is today, even outside of the scope of race. Holidays, holiday pay, minimum wage, all of that was everything, all of that for savings plans, all of that stuff was because of these radical militant leftists that everybody's is including the president is pointing fingers at. And it's hate to break it to you, and the radical leftists is basically why we kind of aren't still attached to the UK right now, essentially, and why we broke off and established our own country. So it's the inherent general concept of is all the same.
I mean, I think we also need to point out that our president is someone that would very gladly get rid of a lot of these things, and has past in his business endeavors proved that he's quite willing to try and get out of things like medical benefits and equal pay and labor laws. When we consider that.
Yep.
As and that Tina Fey thing she mentions, he says that we should protect Confederate monuments, but if he could build a cheap condo on them, he totally would.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I like that. I never thought of it that way.
Pretty funny.
Start telling people that.
Yeah. I'll close the podcast by saying I wish I didn't have to close the podcast. But we'll have many more opportunities to do this again. It has been an absolute pleasure having this podcast with you all today. And people in the stream, regardless of if people disagreed or agreed with everything that was said, it's been a very productive and civil conversation, and I appreciate all of you at home for that. I appreciate you guys for giving us your knowledge. Knowledge is a very powerful thing to arm yourself with, and I hope that there are people listening to this that might have thought about some of these things in a different way. I hope that this was able to shed some light, at least, into some of the inner workings behind the scenes things. I know there are some people out there we will never convince that the KKK or Nazis are bad. But if this helped change even one person's mind, I'll consider it a victory.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
That's what I'm here for. It's what my goal is, educate and hopefully making a difference.
Where can people go to get more of you, Pikachulita? I
Your voice just got real sultry. I'm really.
Oh my gosh!
You
that
really
went like
this
that
is what Source talks about us like this, bro.
You know, I had to bring it back to
This is why Source talks about us this way. Thanks a lot.
I love Source. Source is my boo.
I do too. I adore Source.
Pikachulita on I talk about a lot of this stuff on Twitter. My Twitter is gaming, societal issues, current events. I don't too much dabble in Black Twitter topics or anything. It's the messy $200 dates and shit. I don't talk about anything like that, but I talk about it's the same recycled Twitter topics. I dabble in anime, gaming, cute pictures of cats and cute pictures of my bunny that I post.
Well, you'll get along with Chris then.
Oh yeah.
Who's
Oh, yeah.
Chris?
It's
It's
your
Yoru. Yeah,
It's who?
his name. He goes by Yoru. He's one of our very close friends, and he's also a cosplayer. He's becoming very, very, very popular. And he's wonderful.
Does he have a bunny?
He and his girlfriend have a bunny.
Oh, it was like a parents group. Like we have to like meet and we have to talk about our rabbits.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
don't worry.
I need somebody to introduce me because like this is a thing because like I don't know anybody else who, like personally with a pet rabbit, and like I always tell people I have a pet rabbit. What? I didn't know people have rabbits. What the fuck did you think people did with them? Use them as decoration? Like I don't know. Like they have them in pet stores for reasons. People have them as pets anyway. But yes, I talk about a lot on my social media. Pikachulita is just where you can find me. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. That's about all I use, but it's all the same across all those platforms. Pikachulita, literally Pikachu with an Lita.
You kiss your bunny.
You want me to kiss my bunny right now?
No.
Wow, this guy, you know what I'm saying? All right.
Wait, is he being?
Oh.
Can't even-
wait
He
a
just
minute.
asked.
I KKsaurus. Oh no, sorry, I misread that. I am so sorry. I also miss my KKsaurus said I also miss my bunny.
Yeah, I used to have a bunny. I miss him. And the
I
other
also
one, but-
kiss
I
my
fucked
bunny.
I-
Okay, that's why I was so confused. I'm like, what is even happening right now?
up.
Like,
We are on the late night show.
What is your
Now
bunny's
kissing the
name?
bunny.
what is my bunny's name?
Yeah.
All right, so
What?
My
That's
bunny
a
has
legitimate
a really-
question.
no, I'm saying it's a really like cool name because okay, when I first got him, he was a little bit more like speckled, like kind of cookies and cream colored. He's gotten more black on him now as he's gotten his adult coat, but he looked like an ink blot. So I'm a huge fan of the Watchmen, so I named him Rorschach,
Nice.
Okay.
and I
That's
call
pretty
him
cool.
Rory for short. So
Rory. Like
Yeah.
Gerber's pet dog.
Where can people go to get more dream manifest?
It is everything all day dream manifested. So if you ever just bored one day and want to try all the little social media outlets, Dream Manifested is there. Even DeviantArt, and it's been a little dry lately, but I got some things to put up there.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
And-
we're gonna revive.
Mr. KKsaurus.
Yeah. So I don't really do Twitch too much, but you can find me on PlayStation. I'm the one KK on there. You can find me on Instagram. It's KKsaurus. On Twitter, it's KKsaurus. But yeah, that's it.
And keep it locked here, folks. You already know. You're here. You probably figured out how to follow me and shit. I'm black only on pretty much everything. YouTube is different because someone fucking took the one. But that's okay. We're going to have some more awesome content coming later on today. If you all who are watching right now want to stick around for the end, we are going to do a little raid for somebody, give them a little bit of love while we all go take care of the other stuff we got to do, and then return for the rest of tonight's show. So, have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you next one.
Bye, guys.
Holla. Holla, 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 holla.